Inside Thursday night, how's it going? Alright, strip back, good crack, multi-trade podcast. Share the knowledge you know, help to make our sector grow. Everybody's learning from experts and the journeymen. Insights.
Right, we're back. Season 6, Episode 5. I'm Stephen Buckley.
I'm Keith Delahan.
And this is Inside the Stripped Back podcast, sponsored by Robust Lighting.
And in association with Snickers Workwear Ireland.
Yeah, we've got a good episode lined up today. Overload segment, one of our own, an electrician, electrical engineer, a creator, an influencer, a marathon runner. Jay Kavanagh is going to be joining us. Really exciting.
What can that man not do?
I know, too much. He's putting us to shame.
Yeah, now excited, and might even get him on the challenge wall later on, Steve.
Yeah, challenge wall is definitely something that we're going to get him on, and you'll be able to see his attempt on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn.
Yeah, best of luck to him. And then after that, Steve-o, we have Andy Fraser coming over from the UK. He's on our special guest interview segment. So he is an artist, designer, and school or college lecturer. So that's going to be really interesting. Different
for us, and like we do the podcast every season, we like to push out the boat. We like to get people on from all different walks of life and all different sectors and backgrounds. So really looking forward to getting into it.
Yeah, and he's got a good story as well. So stay tuned, everyone.
Yeah, let's get into it. This podcast is sponsored by Robust Lighting, the world's leading LED lighting company.
Jump over and download the My Robust app, see the full range and catalogue, and make the next order with ease.
Jay, thanks for joining myself and Keith on the podcast. Delighted to have you.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm buzzing.
Finally roped you in.
After, what, how long? A couple of months?
Yeah, big thanks to Orla.
Yeah, big. Orla, you're the man. I was going to say you're the man, but yeah, you're the woman.
No, look, I think it's one of those things where there's a wall, I think, on Instagram where just you have to break through it sometimes with some of these influencers, you know.
But listen, you have to be repetitive. Do you know what I mean? You kept going. That's the good thing. Kept going. Don't take down for an answer.
How's your day been so far before you got here?
Good, busy. I was in work today, and then I went home from work. I actually finished up early from work, which is very rare, and I'm very happy about it. Went home, had a sleep, edited, and here I am now.
Well, for some, innit?
Yeah. You never stop working.
No, I don't. Like, it's just so busy, like, and it's just always on go. It's always constant. But I love it though. Like, I like the whole hecticness of everything. Like, I love being like constantly bang, 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 bang all the time.
Do you say easy? No, you don't strike me as the type that would.
No, like I'm fucking there, like fucking.
He went up into the visitors' room there, and he was straight over to the simulator.
Yeah, no, I was.
He's on the simulator for about 2 hours.
I seen that, and I fucking like my eyes lit up, and I was like, happy days gonna sit here now for about 10 years.
Yeah, pulling points. Then he was as well.
Yeah,
cheers.
You had his phone unlocked, ready for you to record it as well.
Yeah. I'd already say, sorry, will you do that?
Always working.
Yeah, Keith, record that there, will you?
Now.
What we usually do is take things back a bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of our listeners and viewers that probably do know who you are and probably do know a little bit about you. But for anybody who doesn't, if you could let them know pretty much where you grew up and maybe what school was like and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, 100%. So a lot of people actually don't know where I grew up, which is a bit mad. Like, I don't think anyone knows where I grew up. They know I'm from Dublin, but not anywhere. Like, so I'm actually from Rossfield in Jobstown in Dublin 24. So for anyone that knows Rossfield and Jobstown, they know it's an interesting place, to say the least. Full of very, very different types of people. That's the best way to describe it. But listen, I like it because, like, I wouldn't change where I'm from, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's where you're from who makes it, like, where it makes you who you are. Do you know what I mean? I think where you're from makes you who you are. And especially growing up in that area, like, I've seen things that, like, ways that I don't want to go, but ways I also do want to go, and like you see opportunity to get out of that, which thankfully I've done, like, you know what I mean, and I'm happy to say that I've done that, like, and like, so I grew up in Rossfield, spent a lot of time over my dad's over the north side. He lives near Cabra in the cotton market, for anyone that knows. Beside it's a pub called Hanlon's Corner. But yeah, that's where I spent most of my time as well. So I've been between both. So I've seen both sides of interesting places. But yeah, no, listen, it's great. Like, and I'm so happy from where I did come from, because it has made me who I am today, and it definitely has instilled a lot of like the hard work that I try and do into me, which is great. Like, because you see people, and unfortunately they go the different way. They take a different path, and it's sometimes they think it's the only way. Like, do you know what I mean? But it's not. Like, and I'm lucky at seeing that, and I'm so thankful at seeing that early on. Do you know what I mean? That wasn't the way, and it's not the way I wanted to live my life. Like,
yeah, sure. Even we have mates from school that have gone down that path. Like, even out in Balbriggan, like there's it's the same everywhere. Do you know what I mean? But some of them taking their lives. You know what I mean? And gone down that road. Like, it's terrible. Like, but what was school life for you anyway?
School life, like, I'll be honest, I didn't like school, and any of the teachers that know me, like actually know me like that, and have helped me through school. Like, see, I think it's, I'll say, I'll do that first, and then, sorry, I'm talking myself. This will probably be edited out, but like, I'm gonna lead into that. Yeah. So school for me was actually, I'll be honest, like, I didn't like school. I didn't. I think school's either for you, it's not. And it wasn't for me whatsoever. Like, I'll never forget it. Like, even my junior stage year in school, like, it was kind of more secondary school is where, like, well, even primary school, I never wanted to go. I never wanted to go to school. I never liked it. I never wanted to be there. Just didn't find it interesting. Didn't think I could, like, just feel like I was learning nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like, and
boredom, was it? Like,
it was, it was boredom, and it was like, now some things I found interesting, like the likes of business studies, the likes of economics, all that kind of business related things, and art was very good, and obviously PE because I play football all the time. But like, I'll never forget, like, in third year for me juniors here, no one knows this story I've never told. And so for me juniors here, what I used to do was I used to hate school that much, where I'd get up in the morning, I'd get changed into the uniform, get the bus 27 to the square, and I'd go to the library for the whole day and sit there and just like learn other things, like learn things about business, learn things about like how to make things and all that kind of stuff. And then
so you were at school basically.
I was, yeah, like I was at my own school, like, I'm homeschooling myself, but yeah, no, I done that then, and at 4 o'clock I'd get home. I'd leave the library about 4:15, because if I got home at bang on 4, Ma would have been like, where the fuck were you? Like, do you know what I mean? So I got home for like the normal time, and I done that solidly for a year, like. But the only reason the school that my ma didn't find out was because the school had her own phone number, and they were still sending texts, like, thinking that, yeah, well, obviously knows about it, like. But yeah, no, that was how that's how much I enjoyed school. But no, I only went there for PE.
but even to make that decision though, to go to a library, and now, like, I've heard other stories, and like, you've heard stuff from our friends where they get up,
I come off,
they put on the uniform, you're down in the pool halls, or everywhere else, anywhere, you know what I mean? It's
yeah, no, I think like, a lot of my friends will actually probably laugh at this. Me real core friends that know me, like, since I'm growing up now, that I hate school so much, like, that everyone used to say, like, I'd only come in for PE, like, because I play football.
Well, he's passed the test then, isn't he? He hates school, so he's allowed on the podcast.
We're school bashers here on the podcast. No, but look, the main thing is, like, as you know, and you've said before yourself, school is not for everyone.
No, it's not, like, and it's like, I can openly say it wasn't for me, but I can also say then I had to go. Do you know what I mean? Because I needed to get where I am now, to get any apprenticeship, I needed to go. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter, like, you need a junior cert, you need to live cert. You have to have one of them. You have to have good grades in one of them. So I was lucky enough that I did. I think if I really did bother with school, I actually really would have done very well, like, in me junior and me leaving.
It shows in your profession, like, you know what I mean? You obviously have to be bright in what you're doing. As we know, like, plumbers, whatever about them. Yeah. But electricians, like, you have to have a bit of brain about you, you know what I mean?
But it opens up, I think it does open up a bigger conversation, probably one that's bigger than what we could even give a bit of information about. It's school, and, the whole, everybody learns different. Everybody has a different way of getting to that end point. And I think they focus too much maybe on the 1%, or the maybe sort of 99% even of the people who are sticking to the main curriculum, where there's that 1% who veer off it, but doesn't mean that they're troublemakers, doesn't mean that they're dumb or anything like that. It just means that they have a different way of thinking, they have a different way of learning, and I just think they're lost in the system, Like,
I've always said that, like, even when I went to do my Frasers, like, the likes of the maths, like, the maths is like different language. Do you know what I mean? Like, as you know, but I would have then, because I found that interesting and I done well, I got credits in that, I would have loved to go back and do a high level paper. if I had the same interest, because I say I would have fucking aced it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's mad. Like, I think it's just one of them things. If you're not interested, you're not going to want to learn. Like, and I think the skill system, in my opinion, is very outdated. It's like, it's been like the same way for hundreds of years. I think it does kind of teach it in a way to become like just an employee, and just, you got to work, you do your work, you go home, you don't do anything else, you pay your bills, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's no way to live. Like, for me, I just never wanted to be like that. Like I've always kind of wanted more for myself, but I think that does stem back to everything that I have gone through growing up. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's one of them things. Not for everyone, but definitely wasn't for me. But in saying that, now, the teachers that I had, I wouldn't have probably got through school without them. I think teachers are very good. Like, if you get, like, I think a lot of people say, if you get one or two good teachers, like, they'll take you through it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and it's good that I've been very lucky and fortunate to have them, and like still keep in contact with some of them, which is great. And like, I would have been probably, we always talk about this, me and my friends, like my actual school friends. Like, one of them does plumbing. Robert, he does plumbing. Why the fuck he does plumbing? He does plumbing, and like, we've always said it like that. We were definitely like predicted not to go anywhere with our lives, doing nothing, probably beyond on the social welfare claim, and like doing nothing, going out causing murder, being just absolute idiots. Do you know what I mean? But why not?
It's actually the opposite. Like,
is that a product of the area, or is it just?
I don't know. I think it's the environment you're in definitely can either shift you to go one way or the other, like I was talking about. So yeah, I think you are the product of your environment to a certain extent. I think if you know yourself, you don't want to live like that, you are going to change it. If you really don't want to live like that, you are going to do anything to change it. And that's just my opinion. It's my view on it, because that's what I've done. Do you know what I mean? I can kind of only say from my experience, like, everyone thinks differently. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't know what anyone is going through, what anyone is thinking in that frame of mind at that time. Do you know what I mean?
Did you play much sport?
Yeah, I played football my whole life. I like playing sport. I like doing any sport. Like, I played GAN, hurling in school. I wasn't very good at it. Thank fuck I did.
That's just to get gone to trips and stuff.
Telling you, like, anything to get out. Like, I used to just come in for school trips and I go home after them. Like, do you know what I mean? Or PE, because
we used to do that. We used to take 2 hours off before the match, and it was a home match. Like, you know, we used to go home, get prepped, and
There's no ice baths. It was just home and beans and toast.
But yeah, now I love sport growing up. I have to say, I'm a big football. Like, I love football. I love playing football.
Who support?
I just, like, see, I tell people I love football, right? But everyone expects me to say I'm a diehard fan. Like, I just couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, I watch any football. Like, I tell people support Liverpool. Just
come on,
I just tell people that. You know what I mean? Like, but like, I'd watch any game. Like, I love football that much that, like, I love watching the World Cup. I love watching the Champions League. I love watching things that are big tournaments. Like, because I feel like it's just different than a regular Premier League match. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, no, I play football majority of my life.
Supporter of the game.
Yeah.
Some people won't watch other games, like, you know what I mean?
But I'd much rather, like, there's people that would much rather watch football. I'd much rather play football. You know what I mean? I love it. Like, I've played football since as early as I can remember. Like, I first started playing for Bows, and then I went on, bounced around team to team, played for some really good teams, which I've been very lucky about. And yeah, for only my knee injury. And now, listen, I think, do you know what? I've said this actually recently, right? And it's going to sound mad. I don't think I would have liked to go pro now with what I have in my life and what I've, like, where I am. I don't think I'd actually like it as much as I thought it was. Like, because I've played at high levels, I have, and like, it's not what I thought it was. Do you know what I mean? It's not what I thought it was going to be. And I'm not saying that I was playing fully pro, like, it was up there, like, do you know what I mean? And it's like, I kind of rather what I do now. Do you know what I mean? I don't, like, I'd rather play maybe at high level still, but I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I'd love to become a professional footballer. Do you know what I mean? I used to when I was younger. That's all I thought about, and that was like, I'm going to do this, and this is what I'm going to sacrifice to do this, because this is what I want to do. But then I kind of realised as I grew up that I don't really want to do that. Like, I wouldn't mind playing it the odd time, like, do you know what I mean? Or playing, like, with the lads on a Sunday, like in the Astro, like. But that's my idea of fun now, like, with football. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you do. You lose the love. What would you say with the competitive game?
Yeah,
that's 100%. Because things come along like girlfriends, kids, and then the dreaded knee injury, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That you could never get back from, you know what I mean?
And that knee injury isn't even existent. I just keep telling people.
Could have played for Liverpool.
Could have, you know what I mean? I know. I know. I love football growing up, and it's definitely football and running have been the two things that have helped me a lot. Really, like since I'm young, like it's the thing that like that was my escape. Do you know what I mean? I think you need to have an escape, or you will go mad. I just, for me, that's the way I was. Like I needed to have somewhere I could just let off steam, and football and running were a good way to do that. Like,
Was that your support system in a sense?
yeah, like I kind of like, do you know what? I've been very, very, very lucky to have a great support system around me. I think we'll probably get into Michaela a little bit later, but like having Michaela, like me and Michaela are together since we're very young. Do you know what I mean? Like, and her family have been a huge support system with me. And they've always looked after me, they've always looked out for me. But having like them and having football and having running has like definitely saved me more times than I'd probably like to admit. But I'm glad it has. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, you were talking about family there. You were dealt a very big blow in your life.
Yeah,
the passing of your dad.
Yeah. Yeah, no, still the hardest. It's the hardest thing that I've ever had to go through. Hands down, I've gone through some crazy shit, some mad shit that people you wouldn't believe if you told them, or like something that kids should never ever see, or people should never ever see. But yeah, like by far everything that I've gone through, that 10 times is 10 times harder. Like, do you know what I mean? It's I don't know. It's one of them things. Like I think you never think it's gonna happen, but I was actually only doing a talk there the other day with Electric Ireland for Darkest and Delight, and I was saying like every single one of us is gonna go through grief at some time, and it's about how you can not prepare yourself for it, but it is coming, so you know it's coming. But it's to maybe do systems and practice things that like it won't be as bad then. Well, obviously it's still gonna be bad, but you know, like you don't get as bad as like I wasn't prepared at all. It was so sudden, like, do you know what I mean? I'll never forget the phone call. Like I remember I actually only brought my foot from playing football. And it was on crutches, and it was when I had a marketing agency at the time, and I was doing editing for a client of mine. And I'll never forget, my nanny rang me and she said it like, she's like, your dad's dead. Like, I was like, what? I thought she was joking. I swear to God, I thought she was joking. Because my nanny's a fucking mad thing. Like, she like she joked like that. Like, and yeah, I'll never forget it. Like, I couldn't believe it. And I think for the rest of that day, it was just a blow. Do you know, I don't even remember the rest of the day. I remember walking into the house and obviously seeing it. I just like hell, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's mad. And I've always said that, like, it's so important to keep your close people close to you and make sure you're always checking in on them, and like make sure you're always talking to them, and make sure you're there for them, and just make sure you know that they know that you're there for them, like, you know what I mean? And because it was so sudden, like he died of a heart attack, like so, like, and that's how we found out. Like, found out through obviously autopsies and all that shit. But it's mad, like, and you don't know when your time is up, and I think it can be so scary, but it can also be so motivating in a way to do as much as you can, because you don't know when your time, like, that's it.
There's always that age-old saying, you know, about the, you know, parents and all shouldn't be burying their kids and kids burying their parents, but there's a time for it, isn't there?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's, you know, you're in your 20s or you're in your 30s or your parents are in their 70s, 80s, 90s. It's a shock no matter what. And did you find that, you know, a part of you probably went with him as well?
I definitely, like me and my dad were very close, do you know what I mean? He was one of my best friends, like, and it's like, it's hard, like, and it's hard to even talk about, like, it's mad, like, it's over 2 years now, like, and it still feels like it happened yesterday. It's mad, like, I don't know, I think it's the best way to describe it is, I think people that have lost parents will know what I'm talking about, because I still don't know what I'm talking about, do you know what I mean? I know how hard it is, but it's hard to describe how hard it is, do you know what I mean? I think any type of loss is hard. Like, I lost my first bit of grief was my auntie. Like, she would have been my ma. Do you know what I mean? She would have been a mother to me. Like, and like for her to go, but I think hers was different than my dad's, because we knew that was coming, because she had ovarian cancer. She passed away from ovarian cancer, and like, we knew it was kind of coming eventually. Like, but like when she was in the hospice, you knew, but you can never prepare for when it actually does happen. You know what I mean? So. I think I've had a lot of grief in my life. I've gone through an awful lot of fucking mad shit, like, and I think I've always just said to myself, I just need to come out the other side of it, and just need to keep working hard. I need to keep working hard. Need to keep going. And I think that has definitely taken me. Now, listen, there's been times now I'm still learning about it and learning about grief, because it's not easy. It's not easy at all. It's very, very hard, and it's something that I'm still learning. Like I say, to this day, I'm still trying to work on it. because it comes in waves. One second you
Sure,
could be happy.
creep up on you.
It's fucking
now
mad.
and
Like,
again. Yeah.
like 1 second you could be absolutely fine, laughing, joking. 2 minutes later you could be bawling your eyes out, and it's mad. Like, and I think I'm just still learning about it. Like, it is crazy. It's an interesting journey to be on. Like,
There's no right or wrong or no book that'll give you the path to dealing with it either. Like, you know.
Like, it's crazy. Like, I remember I only seen a video the other day and it was talking about like what was it? That, like, something about your dad or something. Like, it was one of them TikTok videos. That got me then.
That would have set you off.
Stuff like that, like, still set me off. And like, I have no problem saying it. Like, and it's hard. Like, it's not easy, and it's not. Yeah, it's like, but unfortunately, all of us are gonna have to go through some sort of grief, and I think that's mad. Like,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself being more active after it, just to keep the brain occupied?
Oh yeah, Jesus, yeah, like fucking, like, so at that time I had a marketing agency, and obviously I was out of work, so I was trying to make more money. And now I had the marketing agency while I was in work, and I was doing well. I had some really good clients, I had a good few clients. I was doing like video editing, I was doing paid ads, I was doing all that kind of stuff, and I was doing well for myself. Do you know what I mean? I was doing very well. Like, before that, then I had a clothing brand. Like, do you know what I mean? I think I've always been business minded like that. Even from school, learned about business. Do you know what I mean? I've always learned about, like, how can I make more money? How can I make more money? Like, so I had the marketing agency, and that was doing well. And yeah, like, it definitely got me busy. Like, he had passed away, and then I think fucking 6 days later, I was like, even the day of, I was telling clients that, listen, XYZ has happened, I just need a couple of days, and you were like, take as much time as you want, but I was straight back to it then. Do you know what I mean? And do you know what, looking back now, I wish I had taken more time to sit with it and chill out with it and just know what has happened, and then eventually go back to it, because I think I went back way too quickly, threw myself back into work, and then, like, even now I still suffer with it. Like, I just break down from time to time. Do you know what I mean? And it's tough, whether maybe if I had taken an extra week or 2 weeks, would have been different. Do you know what I mean?
I nearly see similar aspects of that, like, where stuff that you were saying there about putting your head in the game. Like, myself and the wife went through a loss of miscarriage. Yeah. And it was during COVID, you know, and, she was in the hospital. I was outside. I wasn't allowed in. Yeah. So, like that, I just buried myself in work. And, you're getting on with it. You're being strong. You feel like you have to just keep pushing through. Yeah. But it's a moment in time where it's like the straw that breaks the camel's back. Yeah. And it could be something so small, and you just break, And it's similar to that. It's like, why didn't you say something earlier? You know what I mean? It's somebody thinking, if you had just spoke to somebody, or you had to just talk to somebody could have helped you, or somebody could have talked you through it. But still, I'm in my mind, I still think I don't fully believe that, because I think you can talk, and I think talking's great, like, but that bit of silence and that bit of self,
sometimes you got to deal with your body's telling you what to do. Like,
a bit of self-thought and self sort of respect for yourself, just to let that sort of heal. Yeah. And then come to somebody. I think you can't force that either,
No, I don't think so. And I think it's so important. Like, and like I'm sure you know better yourself. Like, men just do not talk. Like, they don't talk. Like, especially people in trade. Like, and like anyone in general, any man. Like, but like, I already know from trade experience. You know what I mean? Like, just like being around like fucking the boys. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't see, like, you wouldn't go to your mate and say, listen, I'm feeling shit. Like, I'm feeling horrible now. Like. But like, it's men just don't talk, and it's mad how society has put that into the world, that like men are just meant to be this strong fucking like an ox figure. They're meant to do this, they're meant to do that. They're never meant to show emotion, just meant to work hard and like be like a fucking robot. And it's not that, like, and it's not. And I don't care what anyone says. And you'll get people saying, oh well, I might shut the fuck up. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you like. You have to. It's all right to show emotion. I think that we're led to believe that men just can't show emotion. Like, I fucking bawled my eyes out in front of me missus, I don't know how many times, like, ever since my dad's passed away. And like I said, like, even talking about it now, like, you get emotional and you get upset, like, and I'm alright with that, and I couldn't give a bollocks what anyone has to say. And I think I'm okay with that, because I'm okay with me. Do you know what I mean? But there's a lot of people that aren't like that, and they're afraid to talk. They're afraid to speak out. They're afraid to like go to someone for help. Like, the hardest thing for a lot of people is just asking for help. It's mad, like, and it shouldn't be like that, like, and I think like a lot of people are working very hard for it not to be like that, and it's getting a lot easier, and it's not as bad as it used to be for people to talk out, but it's still there, like, and there is still a lot of like friction with people not wanting to talk because they think that they're not a man. Like,
Yeah, well, like,
come
it's
on.
like Monday morning on site, like it's always, do you get a few beers the weekend? It's never like, you never see someone going to anyone saying like, geez, I had a really tough weekend. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think of this? What do you think I should do? It's always the macho shit, isn't it? Like,
And it's just like, what's the
It's
need,
false
like,
as
you know?
well, like,
Who
you
you
know.
feel like you're not fooling no one. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like, yeah, you just,
But you'll find them lads like that are actually out on the piss every weekend. They're the ones that are
Yeah.
struggling the worst. Like, you know what I mean?
You don't want to
Just
be
don't
that.
want to show it. Like,
You don't want to be that 60-year-old, 70-year-old man bitter. You know,
Yeah.
bitter and angry and full of PTSD.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And who else is going to benefit from that? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Your wife, your kids,
Yeah, I see,
girlfriends,
yeah.
whatever. It's all going to be affected by it, you know?
I think it is though. Like, it's such a good point. Like, it's such a chain reaction. I think, like, it's like, I remember saying this years ago, and it's actually such a good picture. It was like it passes down from generation to generation. Do you know what I mean? Like you pick up things that like your man and dad have done, like whether good or bad. But at some point, it needs to stop with someone. And I felt like for me anyway, it stops with me. Like I like half the shit I want to teach my kids. Do you know what I mean? Like
I know what
I
you
think
mean.
I've always tried to like live my life that like anything I do in my life is for future me. Do you know what I mean? And I think that I seen the way that they were, and I didn't want to be going with that direction. Like the same way with the environment, like I didn't want to go that direction. It stops with me. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
anything I do now is going to be passed down to my younger generation. Like, do you know
No, you
what I mean?
make a great point there, and even in terms of like growing up, like parents or whatever missing kids' football matches just for instance, like when my son was born, I'm mad into football as well.
Yeah.
But I worked every Saturday, you know, Sunday sometimes as well. But when he started playing football, I said, I'm never missing a match.
Brilliant.
That's just one thing that I got to do. I'm never going to miss a match, no matter where it is. Like, he plays for Dundalk now, Steve knows. But like, he could be Mayo, Sligo, Derry, wherever. Like, we miss no matches. Me and the missus just get to everything, like, you know. And we feel guilty. Like, say, actually, I lie. We were away one time for a weekend, dirty weekend. Yeah, we missed that match. But like, you know, he forgave us. Like, he probably had the game of his life. I was not there. You know what I mean? But,
That's so good.
But that's that's the point. Like, you know, like where my man dad went to most of my matches, but like, you know, I still remember the ones he didn't go to. Like, and I always just said, not going to miss a match. Like.
That's good though, and like, see, you're like, it's mad how it works. Like, it's crazy. Like, you know, like if perfect example, there's a thing online that was like, if your man dad telling you constantly that you can do anything, which I was told, like I was told I can do anything I've put my mind to it by my auntie and my dad and loads of people, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I did. You see that. Then if you say, then they say it, and then they say it, and then it's like, but like what you're doing, like your son will probably do that for his kids now. Do you know what I mean? And then they'll do it for their kids, and then it's just reaction.
Rewriting it.
It's brilliant, like, and I think that's the way it should be. But unfortunately, it's not, like, do you know what I mean? Like, for
in some circumstances,
there's not, like, but
it's like that. Like years ago, like, you know, kids used to get a slap. Like, you kind of see that's kind of dwindling, and
it's a generation shift, I think.
Yeah. And laws.
Let's not forget about the laws.
But you had that drive to succeed, I think, from a very young age. And that has showed, like, through, you know, your entrepreneurship, that has with the marketing agency and everything else that's come with it.
Yeah.
But what sort of drove you into the electrical industry?
Yeah, so my uncle is in the trade I'm in. So that's why I kind of knew. I had got introduced to it from, and I was working in JD. And I'll never forget it. He'll actually laugh when he says this. He was like, so I was working in JD, you know, and he rings me up one day. It's like, so come here, are you still in JD? I was like, yeah. And he's like, so when are you going to get a real job? Like, and I was like, fuck it, like, I'm working full time. Like, it's not a real job. Like, and that's the way he talks as well. Like, I feel like I talk like him because I just picked up the way he talks, like his mannerism. Like, it's like, it's not a real job. Like, and I was like, fuck, it is. Like, I'm earning full weight. No, it's not. Like, so what are you going to do? Like, I'm working JD till you're fucking 40. Like, and it's like, I'm not planning it. Like, so he got me an apprenticeship. He did in the place he used to work in. So he's on his own now. He has his own business, Bespoke Security. If anyone wants any security needs, just a little plug
for all your security needs.
Don't worry, I'm gonna invoice. But yeah, now he's He's flying. He's in business 8 years. He's some really good contracts. He's doing very well for himself, and that's someone that I have looked up to because he, like me, was like he's the person that went out and he wanted more for himself, and he's doing fucking great. Like, and it's great for him. Like, but the way he is with his kids is great. Do you know what I mean? So then, like I say, chain reaction.
Yeah.
But no, he's brilliant. So that's how I got introduced into it. I got my apprenticeship. I originally turned down my apprenticeship the first time. It was during COVID. I was on a holiday in Bulgaria. I was asked about the apprenticeship, sent everything off, said at the last minute, I was like, I don't know if this is for me. Like, so I waited, went off working in the place I was working in it for another 3 months. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I made the wrong decision here. I think I need to do something. I need to be qualified in something. I need to get qualified in something. So at least I have it then forever. So rang back, and then luckily enough, I was able to get the apprenticeship. Got the apprenticeship, worked in the place for 4 years, and then here I am now, qualified. Probably one of the most challenging things I've ever done. Apprenticeship is it's hard. It's a fucking graft.
Commitment.
It's not easy, and especially in the electrical industry. So I think it's one of the hardest industries to actually succeed in. I think they say, don't they, like in the actual sparking one.
Yeah.
Like in the actual electrical, like level 6 is like phase 6. They have the most dropouts, like because people can't finish it. Yeah. But even in ours, like even in my one, like there was so many people in phase 4 and phase 6 that couldn't do it. Like they just can't get the technical side of it. They're very good with their hands.
Yeah.
But like that, it's like you're either good with your hands, you're good at making things, or you're good like in the brain.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which is mad. Like, but yeah, no, it's probably the hardest thing I've ever done. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to stick to. 4 years is a fucking long time to actually dedicate your life to something and like learn constantly be on the go. Like and I wouldn't change for the world. I'm absolutely delighted. I qualified last August, and it's great.
It's like your first time, isn't it? Like that you really put up against
First
it.
time.
Yeah, not really, no. But you put up against it, and you really have to grind to get something.
No, it's fucking mad. Like you either make it happen. Or you go.
Yeah. You're back in JD then.
But it's like a pack mentality, isn't it? It's like you're in there with similar age guys, girls. You know what I mean? Everybody's nearly looking into each other's boots. Everybody's thinking who's doing good here, who's doing bad here,
Who'd be copy,
who's gonna fail. Like I mean, it's a pack mentality, and you know, strongest survive. Like I mean, so to get the end of it, like you said, to get that certificate in your hand, even if you don't continue to use it, it's the same as people. I know people who've gone to college. Yeah, they've done 4 years in college courses. They've come out with a degree in something random,
and they'll never use it.
And they'll be working in the public sector or something. You know,
it's madness. Like, and it's crazy. Like to spend 4 years doing something you just don't like. Like I love what I do. And like a good few people ask me would I ever go full time with content. Like at the minute, no, because I genuinely would find it so hard to leave my job. Like I actually really love what I do, and not a lot of people can say that. And I'm so lucky that I'm able to say like I actually genuinely like going to work. I like doing work. I like actually making things happen. Like, and it's great. And like it's mad. Like I don't know how to describe it. Like when you finish like a full job, like, and you're like, I'm fucking.
I did that.
I'm the fucking man. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, it's great. Like, and it's like even I've done a small job today. Like, I've done a small access job today. Finished it, and I was like, that's fucking class. Like,
same as that. If it doesn't work, like you're devastated.
Like it's ready to fucking just put your hand on the buzz bar and that's it. Like, you don't have to look. Yeah, no, it gets like that.
Would you recommend it for like any young person in school that I suppose doesn't know what they want to do?
Yeah, so like I said, school was not for me. It wasn't for me. I knew I wanted to do something totally different. I was very good at making things. I was very good at like I loved anything to do with like tech, electrical, electronics. Like I like the way like automation systems work. I'm like literally a geek, but I don't look like a geek. Well, I don't think I look like a fucking geek. But you know what I mean? I love all that stuff. Like I could genuinely talk about that stuff for hours. I love it. I find it so interesting how innovation works, and how like the likes of how you can make, like, say, perfect example, like say if you had a camera system and you wanted to link it to like a fire alarm, if a zone goes off, the camera looks at it. And like even little things, like if you had a lighting system, like if you wanted the lighting system to like trigger different things, you know what I mean? Or like that circuit triggers like the lights and something else. And I think that's just class. Like I think it's just so good, and it's even better when you get to do it. But yeah, no, to answer your question, like, I think if you really are stuck in life and you don't know what to do, like I was, like when I was working in JD, I was like, I did know myself. I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, do you know what I mean? Like I need to make something work. I need to have something. And I think an apprenticeship is the best thing for any young person that wants to. Even older people, like there's been a couple of older people that I've worked with that have done apprenticeships. Like they've only started an apprenticeship at 20, 28, 29. Do you know what I mean? But like, what do you have to lose? Like, if anything, it's going to benefit you. But yeah, now to really answer the question, I definitely think any young person that's like knows that school isn't for them or is unsure what they want to do, an apprenticeship is the best way forward, because number one, it'll teach you so much about life. Teach you so much about life. You'll meet people that you'll be friends with forever. You'll be getting paid to learn. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the biggest thing. Whether you go to a full-on college course, you're in the college course, you are paying for that course, for that degree that you might not even use, and you're going to be fucking miserable then. And you might not end up actually liking the thing you're doing. With the apprenticeship is you're getting paid to learn, you're going off, you're doing like I went to university, like, do you know what I mean? Like in Waterford, like that's where we done our phase 4, phase 6, like at the university, like, do you know what I mean? So it's great.
Getting paid to go there.
Getting paid to go there. Like,
you make the same point as our good Sullus friends last week. You're getting paid to learn.
But you're getting paid and that good money.
And that's the underlining thing. Like,
yeah, but and at the end of it, then you're getting a cert that's going to pay you even more money. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's a passport as well.
You can name a passport to the world. Yeah.
Like you got like the thing I fucking find mad is like you could go anywhere in the world and you get hired. No bother.
No questions asked.
And like I think if anyone was to ask me what kind of industry I'd go into, the electrical industry is by far, in my opinion, the best. And the plumbing and carpentry are good. Like, but I just personally think, because obviously I'm in that industry, so I'm gonna say that. But I think it's the best industry. Anything to do with tech or anything to do with electronics or anything to do with electrical, the way the world is going, in my opinion, it's only going more advanced. And if you can either jump on the train or you get left behind at the station. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's so like good. Like even using the likes of AI now, like the way AI works in my job, like I think it's brilliant. Like the likes of the camera systems and all, like all have AI built into them. You can do fucking mad stuff with them. Like it's brilliant. Like, and it's like I love that stuff. Like you probably see that. Like I love that.
You're getting very animated now.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to cut this.
Like, I was just looking at you there. I was thinking, you have the drive for it. Like, do you see yourself? How would you find if you had like apprentices under you? Do you feel like you would be able to instill your passion onto them, or do you feel like you just work good on your own?
I don't know. Like, like I like working on my own. I like working on my own. But like that, I've only worked with a couple of apprentices. But like that, I always try and help. Do you know what I mean? I think you should always, if someone has an interest, you should always show them. Like, but I think as well, if you're an apprentice, you should be asking questions. Like, actually look interested. Like, I was terrible my first while, and like people that know me will see this and be like, yeah, he's a little prick. I used to love the phone. Don't be on the fucking phone. Oh, lads, like the amount of times I've been on my phone and I probably have missed a couple of things, but I paid for that then when I had to learn those things again. Then. Do you know what I mean? So like you do, like try and take in as much as possible, try and ask so many questions. If you look interested, it's only going to benefit you. Do you know what I mean? If you're asking all these questions, it's only like no question is a bad question. So I've always, like, anyone that has worked with me that is an apprentice and like they want to learn, like I'll always try and help, and I'll always try and like educate people the best I can. Like, I don't know everything, like, do you know what I mean? And there's people doing the trade 40 years that don't know everything. But I think that's what I like about the trade, is because it's always evolving. It's always, you need to keep up with it. Like, it's either you keep on the train or you get off at the stop and you get
literally it's going at a rate of knots. Like,
it's crazy, man. It's insane. Like,
is Jay the electrical engineer different to Jay the influencer creator?
No, I don't think so personally. You'd have to ask other people that, but no, I don't. I think for me anyway, I've always said what you see is what you get. I always try and be exactly who I am in person as I am online. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I don't think there's any need. Like I don't understand why people put on this fake persona online and then they're totally different in person. I just don't think it's like, you can only do that for so long. Your lives can only keep up for so long, and then your true colours always show. I think your true colours, where everyone always show at the end. Do you know what I mean? Like, you think people are a certain type of person online, you meet them in person, or you're with them for a while, and you're like, you're actually nothing like you are online. You're actually so fake. Like, do you know what I mean? I think it, like, at the end of the day, just be you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, no one can copy you. No one can tell you you're being fake if you're just being yourself, because you're not. Like, as long as you know deep down, you know your truth. That's what my auntie used to say. You know your own truth. Do you know what I mean? So you do. Like, I know. I would always say I'm as I am in person as I am online. I fucking hope so.
But even in your content, like, you're marrying the two quite well anyway.
Yeah.
With like the collaborations with Tool Fix, Snickers, you name it.
Exactly.
You name it. There's probably loads we're leaving out, like, you know what I mean? So I
Tool
think
Fix and Snickers, though, I would have been the best.
there you go, Lindsay.
Love it.
It's one of those things, though, where I know me and Keith spoke about it before, and we laughed about it when we started doing the podcast. And, you know, we probably had like maybe 1,000 followers at the time. Like, and it's, you know, you walk into a wholesalers and Keith was like, somebody recognised me.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, you're the guy from the podcast.
That's the fat lad from the podcast.
But it's just one of those things you're thinking, like, the level of gap between what we're at now compared to what you're at.
Yeah.
Did you find any of that going into wholesalers? Did it transcend into, you know, your life as an electrician?
Yeah. So now, like, it only kind of started happening really in work probably, I'm gonna say, about 6 months ago. Like I'm in a great position where I am getting recognised now, and I'll always have time for absolutely anyone that wants to talk to me or wants to follow. And I think like that fucking that even sounds mad. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm not used to it yet. I'm almost saying it's like, yeah, no, like I've always said this, like, and I'll continue to say it for as long as I can. Like, without the people like supporting you, liking your videos, watching your videos, even commenting on your videos, just interacting in any way, shape or form, you don't have all those accolades. You don't have the following. You don't have the brand deals. You don't have the sponsorships. You don't have anything without those people. So, like, if I can even just by making someone's day, like getting a photo with them, of course, or like even having a chat with someone, like, I'll always have time for everyone. Like,
did you give Jay 20 quid for the picture after the podcast?
What?
it was 50.
Oh, shit, was it?
Revenue.
I knew it was going to cost me.
But now, like in work, yeah. Sorry, back to that question. Yeah, in work, it's happened a lot more. Like, I'm working at places now, and like I was working in a coffee shop a couple of months ago, and that sound that bang on the air. I won't say it, they probably know who they are, but place in Clondalkin, and they're all sound there. But like, one of the lads, I was there doing the fire alarm. He was just doing the service, like, and he was like, "Oh, I just to get a photo with you, like." I had all be tools on, like, I was like, yeah, of course, fuck it, like, why not? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's great, like, and then even like little things when you go into the shop for lunch and all, like, it's mad, like.
You get free coffee out, but that's the main thing I want.
Sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I do, but I'll always try and, like, if I get something for free, I'll always try and help the business. Like, I think it's really important to help a business, or it's really important to always, I know, like, a lot of people might not agree with this, but as creators, like, I think you always need to kind of put your best foot forward with people, because you have to remember, you've met so many people, but the person that's meeting you, that's their first time meeting you. Do you know what I mean? Like, first impressions for me are everything. Everything. And like, you can never come back from a bad first impression. You can't. And I don't care what anyone says. And I think your name is so important, because it's very easy to build your name. It's very hard to build your name. It's a very good name, but it's like that to lose it. Do you know what I mean? You can lose your name so quickly, and it's very hard to come back from a bad name.
But the likes of that there, like, even say chewing gums or Wrigley's or whatever, but Cadbury's chocolate or any type of product. Yeah. They're the product. They're promoting that as the product.
Yeah.
For you, you're the product.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to really concentrate on yourself, and you have to really make sure that, like, your image out there as you're going around on your normal day in work, outside of work.
You always have to be on it.
You always have to be on it, yeah.
Yeah, but I've always said that, like, I treat my social media like a business. It's a business. I'm a business. So I'm representing my business. I'm always going to represent my business in the best way possible. Even if I'm having a bad day, it doesn't matter, because, like I said, that's that person's first time meeting you. Do you know what I mean? Like, just don't be a prick. Like, do you know what I mean?
It's just simple, isn't it?
Like, do you know what I mean? What's it going to cost you? Fucking 2 seconds? Do you know what I mean? You're making someone's day. Like, that's why I just find it so important, because, like, for me, if I was looking at it, if I was putting myself in their shoes, and like, I met this crayon, and I was like, oh my God, that's such and such, and can I get a photo? And they were a prick. You'd be like, oh, that's a bit disappointing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it is. Like, it's mad. Like, and I think, I'll always have time for people. I love meeting people. I love talking. I was
just about to say that, like, talking about, like, having time for people and speaking out, like, if you're starting to dabble in a bit of public speaking on the big stage as well. What's that been like for you?
Definitely very difficult. Very, very difficult. I done a talk recently with Electrical Ireland in the ESB headquarters for Darkest Into Light. I'm coming on as a brand ambassador this year for Darkest Into Light, which is absolutely amazing.
Well done.
And it's crazy that social media has taken me to these kind of places, and I can never, that's why I say, your audience is so important. Without my audience, I'm not doing any of that, do you know what I mean? And I'm always so grateful. I think that's a big thing that I've always tried to keep in my social media, just to always have gratitude for all the opportunities, because at the end of the day, there's so many people creating content out there. There's so many people creating content out there. Do you know what I mean? And if you can differentiate yourself even a small bit, then you're grand. But yeah, no, public speaking, it's a bit of a different one. It's something I definitely would like to do more of. I think I do like being able to talk to people and try and help people and inspire people. That's what a lot of my social media is about. It's trying to inspire people to show that you can do more. Do you know what I mean? You are able to do more, and you don't have to live the life that society is set out. Do you know what I mean? And I think the more people that realise that, the better. But yeah, public speaking, it's a bit of a mad one. It's good. It's very nerve wracking. When I was doing that talk the other day, it was you're trying to. Do you ever remember when? Hello. Do you ever remember when you were in the dentist and they would say pick a spot on the wall or pick a spot on the ceiling and look at it? I was just trying to think of that the whole time, and I'd say I was looking at one person and they were like, "What the fuck is wrong with him?"
He's really.
Why does he keep saying it to me? He's like that, and I'm like, no, but it was very good, really good experience, and I'm delighted. That was my first proper one, and I'm delighted that I even got the opportunity to do that, and hopefully now I can build on that and go and do a bit more, become the next Tony Robbins.
Well, what an important thing to be even talking about. It's really serious. Everyone knows darkness and the light. So that's a really good one for you to be involved in.
And it's not just another campaign. It's not just another sponsorship for me. It's something that does hold very deep in me, in my heart. Do you know what I mean? It's something that I hold very close to my heart. Mental health it's so important, and it's stuff that I've gone through all the way up, even until now. I still go through mad stuff. Do you know what I mean? And it's so important to always check in on people, and it's always important to talk and speak. And
did it bring stuff back for you?
Yeah, 100%. When I was doing the talk, obviously, we were talking about mental health. Now, I didn't obviously go into too much detail because at the end of the day, we're there to promote Darkest Into Light. It wasn't obviously I talked about my struggles growing up, which I did, and it's great. And I told people I genuinely did. There was times where I didn't see light at the end of the tunnel. I didn't and thankfully there was light at the end of the tunnel, because it's not it's never that bad. Do you know what I mean? It's never that bad. There's always I've always said it, it's a bad day, not a bad life. Do you know what I mean? It is. And there was times that I never see light at the end of the tunnel, but thankfully I did get myself through that. But only by talking and realise that I did need a bit of help, do you know what I mean? And that I needed to speak and I needed to talk to someone. And I was lucky enough to have Michaela beside me, by my side, and her family, and then even some of my own family as well, do you know what I mean? And friends and all that kind of stuff. So I've been very lucky. I don't think without the support system that I have, I'd be nearly where I am. Don't think so.
And how did the Dubai marathon, how did that come about?
So yeah, that came about a bit randomly, if I'm honest. I was kind of toying with the idea. I'd love to do one, and I was I've only ever kind of ran 5Ks and maybe the odd 10K, and I was do you know, I really want to challenge myself. I felt I always feel right. So the thing with me is I always feel I'm not doing enough. I always feel I need something to aim towards, and we were talking upstairs, it's so important to realise how far you have come. It's well and good looking at what's next and what you need to aim for on the dartboard, but if you're not looking about what you've actually achieved, it means nothing. Do you know what I mean? And that's the problem with me. I always think I'm never doing enough. It can be really good and it can be really bad. It can be really detrimental as well. You can think that you're not doing enough, and then you go you spiral off, and then you end up not doing anything. Do you know what I mean? You just completely stop. Or the other side of it is you keep working hard, you keep moving the needle, you keep doing things to get yourself into XYZ position. Do you know what I mean? You aim for your goals. But yeah, the Dubai half marathon, I wanted to challenge myself, and I knew it was going to be the biggest challenge that I've ever done, because I've never consistently been able to do something like that for a long period of time. And that's what we said. And that's obviously one of the lads, he runs, do you know what I mean? He's an actual runner. And then we put that up on Instagram. It was literally through an Instagram story, and booked the flights, and we trained for it. We done it for Jigsaw, which is a a great mental health organisation as well, like for many young people, like and it was good that we were able to do that, and we raised I think nearly €10,000. So
That's great. You was given the exposure to them as well.
100%. But listen, it was great. It was a great life experience as well. Like it's not many people get to say like they've done their first ever half marathon in fucking Dubai.
In Dubai.
Do you know what I mean? I
Of
think,
all places.
yeah,
like.
like I think that was one of the good things as well, because I was able to get my own content from it, but I was able to get content where I look back in years to come, and I'm like, geez, I done that. Do you know what I mean?
Bucket list.
I think that's one of the big things about my content, especially with the vlogs and all that kind of stuff, and everything I do, everything that I put up is for future me and for my kids, to show them that like anything is possible. Like you can achieve anything, and it's the story that I'm trying to tell. Do you know what I mean? Like, and like the likes of the vlogs, like a lot of them can be repetitive, but it's to show this is how you move the needle. It's not going to be overnight. No one's an overnight success. Like you work so hard for 5 years and everyone thinks you're an overnight success, and you're not. Like, no one sees the late nights, no one sees the early mornings, no one sees the stress, and no one sees the fucking breakdowns. Like, but everyone only sees the accolades, the sponsorship. Oh, must be nice, but it's not. Like, it's fucking hard work.
And
like,
doing that all alongside a 9 to 5.
it's not easy. It's not easy.
Can't
like,
imagine.
but you know what? I love it. I love the hecticness. I love being hectic all the time. I know that sounds absolutely mad. Like, I've gotten changed in my van and my car more times than I'd actually like to admit. Like, I remember, I'll never forget the very first time I had to get changed in my car. It was a Penny's event, and I was coming from a job, literally in my car at that time. Went into the car, I think it was Jervis car park, the Jervis Street car park, got changed in the back of my car, and I sprayed the deodorant, and I'd say everyone walking by thought I was hotboxing into the car. Like, there was just a big puff of smoke in the whole car, like bleeding sure men all over the place. You know what I mean? But now, like, stuff like that, but that's in the vlog. That's stuff to look back on. Like, Jesus, look at how far I've come. Whenever I do get like that, and I'm kind of like, oh, am I doing enough? Like, do you know what I mean? Should I be doing more? I look back at the early days of the vlogs.
What you've done.
What I've done. And they're so different. Like, I was only saying it to myself the other day. Like, one of the old vlogs came up on, do you know, like the little memories thing that comes up on TikTok? It was like a video that you done like 2 years ago or whatever. And it was looking, I was like, Jesus, the difference in the videos then and now is so much more different. They're so better. Like, they're so much better now.
Yeah.
But, sorry, I know I'm probably going off a tangent now.
No, you're right.
But, like, I have, like, videos on my page. I haven't deleted my first videos. I'll never delete my first videos. Like, you can see, literally, you can go back all the way down my page and see from when I had the marketing agency, and I was talking about fucking affiliate marketing and all. Yeah. Like, talking about mouthwash, how it works, like, how you get affiliate market mouthwash and all, like. And then, then you can see, like, how I evolved then. Then I went to doing, a lot of people know me, right, early days. Like, I used to do, like, websites and all. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Then I went from there. And then I kind of seen, when I had the marketing agency, I seen the way the creator market was going. Like, I was doing stuff for these creators. I was like, do you know what? I could probably do this myself. Like, do you know what I mean? So I started, and I'm glad it's the best decision I've ever made, because I wouldn't be here talking to you now if I didn't.
See that organic growth then through the page, you know what I mean? Which is, it's really
finding your feet type of thing.
Yeah, and it's inspiring, I think, for other people to see the real you, because you see that, like what you mentioned there, the overnight success, and people just could go onto somebody's page and you can see the 40, 50k, and there's like 10 posts, and you're just
all the good stuff.
All the good stuff. Where's the
craft, like?
Yeah, and there has to be a bit of a pivot in it, like, you know what I mean? Like, there has to be, there's ups and downs with everything, but with that, like, how important has Michaela been in regards to being probably like a bit of a pillar of support to you?
Yeah, no, listen, my missus is genuinely my rock. Like, honest to God, I don't know what I'd do without her. Genuinely, like, I'd be bollocks. Like, I would, like. Yeah. She's been there. She's literally been there through absolutely everything that I've gone through in my life personally. Do you know what I mean? Like, all the ups, all the downs, everything. She was there for when my auntie had passed. She was there for when my dad passed. She was there through all the mad shit I've gone through growing up. It's been an absolute fucking roller coaster. And you know what? We are like that. Like, we are unbreakable. Honest to God, like, and I said on the podcast now, imagine we broke up for a couple of years. And now we are, like, listen, we're so strong together, and we're a team. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think for a relationship to work, like me and Michaela together since we're, like, Jesus. I know Michaela about 14 years. We're together about 12. So I mean, since I'm 12 years old, like, I grew up in Michaela. Do you know what I mean? I've spent the majority of my life, like, I would have got out of prison for God knows what murder and all, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's mad, like, it's such an Irish saying, like, geez, you would have got out quicker for murder. But yeah, now, like, listen, we've been through some fucking crazy shit, like, and each time we've came out with the other side, and each time we've always been there for each other, and it's not easy. Like, a relationship is not easy. Like, it's hard. It's not fucking for everyone. It's not an overnight thing. Definitely isn't. Like, I'd say, like, we are just, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's great. And I'm so lucky to have someone like that in my life that, like, I don't know where I'd be. I don't think I'd be as successful as I am without her.
We're something similar, like without the success part.
You're fucking like, Johnny, look at the fucking name on the wall, like, that's success, like.
But it's what you brought up there. It's understanding each other.
Yeah.
Because once you understand, you know, you come in late after a long day, knowing that there's something that needs to get out, or you might just need somebody's opinion on a bit of editing or something like that. It's building that relationship up beyond the physical and beyond the emotional and the, you know, everything else that's come since you've known each other. You're nearly sort of blending an emotional and physical relationship with a business relationship now as well. Like, she's nearly getting into there as well, and it's blowing up for her. Yeah.
Like, I think, like, me and Michaela are best friends. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're genuinely best friends, and, like, we have seen that, like, she pushes me to be better every single day. I push her to be better every single day without fail. We are always both of us, like, that hecticness. We love it. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's hard. Like, see, I can only speak from my experience, but I can imagine, like, we've always said, like, it'd be hard if only one of us done content, because the other one wouldn't really get it. Yeah. Because the both of us do it, we understand what it takes. We know where we need to get to. We know where we want to get to. We know how we're going to get there. Yeah. So it's a lot easier then, because we can help each other then. Do you know what I mean? And it's great. Like, I think it's so important to have that one person by your side. Not even if it's a relationship, but if it's a best friend or it's a family member. As long as you only need 3 good people in your life, and you don't need no one else, in my opinion. I think if you have, like, Joey Diaz says something. It's like, you only need 3 bad motherfuckers to take over the world, but you do.
Like, it's the truth, yes. It is. Small circles.
I'd rather have a small circle of people that I trust than fucking huge circle of people that laugh at many, don't trust any. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so true. Like, and I'm so grateful for Michaela, and I'm just. Do
you find yourself being protective in any way, knowing what you've probably seen in the likes of comments and stuff like that for yourself?
Like, Michaela will tell you that herself. Like, she had, like, girls, especially on social media, I think it's fucking ridiculous how some of the comments do come across. Like, it's madness. Like, the fact that some people genuinely, like, I can't fathom it. Like, some people genuinely have such a fucked up thought in their head that they feel like they need to think about that first and then comment that on someone's video. I think it's wild, and it's always a fake account. Like, it's never on someone's personal account or a real account. Like, it's madness. Yeah, but she's gotten, like, when she first started, she was getting like many people do. Like, you get the odd 1 or 2 bad comments, like, but it's mad. Like, she's just powered through it, and, like, I think it's good. Like I said, you having the 2 people there that do it, that you can kind of lean on them for support, and, like, it doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, like, what was it? Someone said, if you're not getting hate comments, what was it? Like, if the Pitbull actually said it. It was like, if they're not hating on you, you're not doing enough. Yeah. Which is true. Yeah. In my opinion. Now, I've been lucky enough where my comment section isn't really as bad. I've been very lucky that my comment section isn't as bad. I get the 1 or 2 comments, but sometimes I just laugh at them. Do you know what I mean? Like, and, like, the fact that someone, like I said, needs to go through their head, and they feel like they need to put that on your page, it says a lot about them. It says a lot about who they are as a person and what they actually think about and what they're doing with their life. And 9 times out of 10, if you're commenting shit on someone's video, you're probably doing something with your life. Like, are they
going to the extent of, like, setting up a fake account? Obviously thinking it first, then setting up a fake account, and then putting it on someone else's page. Is that the extent? Like, how bad is that? Like,
come on,
it's the bottom of the barrel stuff.
Go out and, like, fucking get your money, like, do you know what I mean? Like, get your fucking bread up or something. Like,
literally what you were saying there. It's just sort of, you know, accepting that those people are out there. There's nothing you can really do with it. So maybe, you know, if there's in any way you can try and utilise that bit of hate and use it as a bit of an ingredient, throw it into the blender and mix it up with a bit of the positivity that you're
I did a house of it. Some of my friends, they were like, they take comments and they just rip the absolute piss out of them. I just delete them personally because I feel like I just
Everybody has their own
Why
way,
not?
like,
Like, you know what I mean?
but some of them do take the piss out, but it is funny. But then like it's mad, like, because then some of the bad comments actually become good comments because you take the piss out of them.
yeah,
It's fucked up. It's weird. Social media can be a very weird place, very weird place, but it can be such a
you
great
have to have
place.
thick skin to be able to utilize that negativity for your own algorithms.
100%.
Because they can go dark for some people, and it's you know, you see the likes of people who've been in social media in a sense over the years, like even through Love Island and all these people have terrible things have happened to them, and there is real people behind those screens reading that, you know.
Yeah, I know it is like, and like I said, social media can be good and bad, and like at the end of the day, you don't know, like you're commenting on someone's page, like you don't know what they're going through, you don't have a clue what they're going through. Do you know what I mean? And for you to comment something like that, like something bad on someone's page, like what is wrong with you? Do you know what I mean? Like there's just no need for it. Like have an opinion or whatever, but there's no need for just a hate comment. Do you know what I mean? Like I just could never understand that. And like you don't online, you don't know what anyone is going through. Like everyone kind of puts their best self online. You don't know what's really going on behind closed doors. Do you know what I mean? And like I think a lot of Irish creators get an awful lot of hate as well, which I don't understand. I think that's just an Irish thing. Like everyone kind of holds a grudge against it. You know what I mean? It's like 90% of people don't want you to do well, but there is that 10% that want you to do well. And I just don't understand it. Like I think Irish people are so great, but they're so bad at the same time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I just don't get it. Like, why wouldn't you want someone to do well? Like, you're well able to sing your praise for a celebrity. You're well able to sing your praise for a footballer. Why not do the exact same for a creator that's trying to put themselves out there, trying to either make a living for themselves, trying to make something happen? You don't know what that creator has been through. You don't know where they've came from. You don't know all the things that they've gone through to get to where they are now, or why they create content. So instead of putting up a shitty comment, actually look at yourself first. Realise, am I actually doing this? Could I be doing more with my time? Could I be actually doing something productive with my time instead of commenting something stupid on someone's post? Do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't get it, mate.
No, 100%. Like we see it a lot through the podcast and through the trades.
Yeah.
Trades are like are unbelievable for it. Like, you know, you hate to see a lad like doing well. Like I'm not like that. I couldn't give a rat's what anyone else is doing. Like, you know what I mean? Where other people would say, "Oh, do you see what your man's doing over there? Jesus, like we could be doing that. Like we try. It's like just do what we're doing. Like we're doing grand. Do you know what I mean?
Live your life. Like.
Live your life. Do your own thing. And
live your own life.
I actually hate it. You know that.
Yeah.
And I know a lot.
It annoys the fuck out of me. Like, like it's something that really passionately annoys me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I can't understand it. Like maybe I need to become a psychologist or something because I genuinely don't understand it. Like I just could never do that to someone because. I think if you're actually out there, you're trying to put yourself out there, and you're trying to do something for yourself and make yourself like better yourself. Of course, like fair play to you, and I wish you all the best. Do you know what I mean? Like, I could never do that. And they say it like it, don't they? Like a business owner is like a successful business owner isn't going to hate you for starting a business. An athlete isn't going to hate you for starting to train. Yeah, like do you know what I mean? Or like even like I said it in a video, like a skilled tradesperson isn't going to like hate you for starting a friendship. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's always the people that are doing nothing with their lives are gonna comment shit.
Yeah,
might be.
Let's try and squash out a bit of the hatred there. Maybe end on a bit of positivity.
Light some sage or something. Get rid of all the bad.
Do a rain dance or something. Will you?
But we'll try and end on a bit of positivity. What's next for you? What's next for you and Michaela? What's 2025 holding for you?
Genuinely, it's busy. It's very busy, and I'm absolutely delighted. I'm so grateful at how it's going. Personally, I think it's just crazy. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things coming up. There's a lot of big things coming up. When's this podcast go?
Next week.
Yeah, no, well, before that. But no, there's some big things coming, which is absolutely amazing. And like I say, I can't thank anyone that supports me enough, because without them, without the people that do support me and like do show great support on my videos, I'm not getting any opportunities. Like, and it's there's a lot coming up. There's a lot of things coming up for me and Michaela. I'm just gonna try and like literally balance everything. Sometimes I don't balance anything, but it's important to circle back and just make sure you know why you're doing it. Do you know what I mean? I think it's so important. You need to have like why you're actually doing what you're doing. You're not just doing it to pass time. You're not just doing it to kill time. You have to be like, I don't know, inspired in a sense. You know what I mean? But there's lots coming up. Lots of busy things coming up. Lots of big things coming up. We have things that what can I talk about? We have Pell in the summer. It's a football charity match, and my friend Darren Monks is the original organiser, and me and Michaela have come on and we're helping out doing a lot of the organising. It's going to be played in Bluebell. That was really big. Like, he's like a load of creators playing. It's probably the biggest, like, no, I think it's the only big football charity match of the year. Which is great. That's always a great day out, and it's a good laugh, and all the creators come up, and it's a great day out for families, and it's a brilliant, it's brilliant. That's one of the things I'm really looking forward to. Then we have some interesting work things coming up, as in social media work, and then even regular work as well, which is good. I've started with a great company, Bolt, with Dave. Hello, how are you doing, Dave? I'm gonna invoice as well for that. But now, like, he's sound, and like, I really like the way he does things, and I like the way, like, I think something that we could have definitely talked about is like the whole social media thing in work. Do you know what I mean? I think it's so important, and a lot of people were kind of almost turned their nose up at it, but it's the way forward, like, especially in this industry, the way it's going, like you look at the likes that we were talking about, the lads over in the UK, like, they are making so much business from social media. And like, I actually was only watching a fella in the UK, and he actually has finished it, like, he just does social media now. Like, but he does it like around work. He's just building things. I think he's a carpenter. He just builds things out of his back garden. Like, but he doesn't take on any work anymore because he doesn't need to. And like, the amount of work you can get from it. But even in this trade, there's no one in Ireland doing it. And I think there's a lot of the lads that are like in the older kind of generation, and they don't, what's worked for them for the last 30, 40 years, they don't want to change it. Do you know what I mean? Which is understandable, but I think it's one of them things as well, like we talked about, you're either on the train and you're going, or you're getting off and you're left behind. So I think, the way social media is going is serious.
You make a good point, because I've asked a lot of people that we've contracts with, and, you know, the general consensus is we want to stay out of plain sight. We don't want to be in the limelight.
Real Irish thing.
But it's starting to change slowly but surely. Like, we might be able to
help it.
But that's good, like, and it's great what you are doing, because there is nothing like it. Do you know what I mean? And it's good that you are getting people in from different backgrounds, different industries as well, which is very good, because you're getting an insight into absolutely everything. Like, that's all. Like, I think for me, like, anyway, like, coming up work wise, like, I'd love to do a lot more, say, cybersecurity. I'd love to dive more into like private sector stuff. Like, I think it's mad. Like, I'm like, it's just, I fucking love it. Like, it's just great.
The world's your oyster.
It is though. Like, it's good. Like, and I think that's one of them things, like, where there's so much opportunity out there. There's so much opportunity out there. It's hard. It's hard not doing anything. Do you know what I mean? I definitely think there's so much to be done. Like,
just keep moving.
Just keep on keeping on, man.
You put nothing in, you get nothing out.
You do, but it's so important. Like, you get it. Like, you get what you put in. Do you know what I mean? If you're gonna work hard, if you're gonna put in the work and the effort and the time, you are gonna get exactly what you deserve. Yeah,
well, I have to say, you're a great role model.
Thank you very much.
For a young Irish man.
Yeah.
You know, in the trades, on social media.
Hope so.
Like, there's nothing you can't do. So fair play to you. And look, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thanks very much for having me on. I'm delighted that we got it done.
Brilliant.
In the end, we got it done.
Before we let you go, we have a Spotify playlist. What song would you add to it?
What song? What was the last song?
I think it was like a Fleetwood Mac or something, was it?
Yeah, I think it was, Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, I like real, I like all trance music, like, you know, like 90s, 0s. Probably, hang on.
Yeah, that's the simplest way.
Hang on. Insomnia, Vegas.
Yeah, class.
100%.
Fucking class song.
Stick that one
Locked
on.
in. Last answer. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Jay. Thank you. Fair play, lad.
Right, overload segment in the bag. Great having Jay on with all the bravado and the influencing and creating, but there's a story behind there, so it was great to get to know the real Jay.
He gave us a great insight into his upbringing, you know, the people closest to him in his life, his family, his girlfriend, and the things he's been through, you know, on his way to where he is now. So, really enjoyed it, and legend for coming on. Cheers, Jay.
Yeah, wish him and Michaela the best for 2025, and hopefully we can get him back in again at a later date to see how he's getting on and how the two of them are getting on, maybe.
Don't forget about us.
But who have we got coming up next?
So we've got Andy Fraser, so our friend from the UK. artist, designer, and school lecturer. So it should be a really interesting one.
Yeah, delighted to be able to get Paul Collins, a previous guest of ours, Marble Master. He was a friend of Paul's, and after we had Paul on, Andy seen the podcast, listened to the podcast, and reached out to us and asked would he be able to come on, and with open arms we said we'll 100% do a remote interview with you. But he said no, I'm gonna take the time, I'm gonna take the bit of money, and I'm gonna travel over and see you. So fair play to him, and can't wait to get in and talk to him.
And he said he was going to do it better than Paul, so let's see if it can be done.
Let's rock on. This episode is coming to you in association with Snickers Workwear Ireland.
So jump on to snickersworkwear.ie, see what they have on offer, and find your local stockist.
Andy, thanks for joining myself and Keith on the podcast. I know you reached out a good while ago looking to have a chat, and it's finally come around.
Absolutely. Thank you for letting me come on. Thank you.
Yeah, great to finally meet you. We've been back and forward the last couple of months, weeks. So, deadly. Finally got you.
I'm in Ireland. Unbelievable.
Yeah. How's it been so far?
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Nice place. I think with a lot of cities nowadays, you used to say, it's a cultural city, it's this, it's that, you know what I mean? And most cities and most towns now are multicultural, aren't they? They're very diverse and everything. Yeah. The thing that I do like about Ireland is it really is that. Yeah. It's not trying to be that. It's been that for a long, long time. Yeah. And you can see that when you walk through the streets. Yeah. I particularly like the presence of the Garda. It's something that we don't have a lot in England. And I think it's kind of frowned upon for a little while. There's police everywhere. It kind of deters things. That's the whole meaning of it all. Yeah. So I've never felt safer somewhere. Yeah. I was saying to, obviously, our lass who brought with me, I was like, you feel safe everywhere you go. Yeah. And I said, I've been to some pretty shifty cities in my time. Yeah. But having that little presence where you walk around there and there's safety there and it's real friendly. It's not just like people making a little bit of a show because obviously, it's a tourist thing, or, you get on, we got on one of them big buses. Yeah. And obviously they're narrating as you go past certain bits and, and it was really nice where they're actually genuinely polite and genuinely nice.
That's good for someone from the outside coming in, isn't it? Because sometimes it doesn't get it gets a bad rap sometimes, I
think the weather plays a factor as well. I think, when you go to any city and the sun is shining, everybody's out, everybody's in a good mood. Yeah. Maybe try come back when it's raining.
I'll give it a miss.
Main thing, you got a Guinness today as well, did you?
Got a Guinness, yeah. So I went to the Guinness factory. It was fresh because the amount that they turn over. What an experience, to be fair. As an artist designer,
I can imagine.
And lighting, although I don't see a lot of colour anymore, the lighting side of things really, you go in there and it's again, I said to the person that I took, it's really beautiful in the sense of an experience, Obviously, Guinness is a huge brand, and I've been drinking it. I've not been drinking it all my life. I've only been drinking it for the last 3 years. It's kind of like that moment when you become an adult and you start drinking wine. I didn't like Guinness for a long time. It just didn't sit well with my palate, or even with me as a human being, kind of thing. It didn't sit very well.
We're the same.
And all of a sudden, I had a pint with my mate one day. Some were watching the Crown Bowling actually in Stockport, and I was just like, this is the
me.
one.
This is me. This is me now.
Yeah, and then since then. So it's been nice to actually go to a place where it's made, where there's an interactive understanding of the product that they've actually grown, and then when you find out about the lease and how many thousands of years he made them sign for the lease and all this type of stuff. Yeah. There's some very, we can all learn from things like that, even in a modern age of today, I've just signed a lease for 3 years and I thought that was a long time. This guy clearly knew what he was doing.
But it's telling the story, isn't it? And and actually, you can go to any pub, you can order any pint, and you can drink it and enjoy your night and go off. But to be able to go somewhere, see where the concept of it came from, the story behind it, I think then when you go out then and you have your next one, it sticks with you, you know what I mean?
100%, yeah. And I think it's nice to see the livery of a brand and how they actually built that brand. Because there was, before, I think it was 1836, I think, don't quote me on the year, but, around that time, there was no branding for Guinness. It was just Guinness on the side of a barrel. And then obviously came up with a harp. And it took you through the stages of harps and the intricacy of the design, and then how they, pulled it back in the 90s and then went back into it recently. And as a designer and artist, that's really something I was thinking, wow, so less is more in periods of time. So when things are, lucrative, and it's in the world currency is lucrative, or we're in happy posh times and things like that, you can see that they've gone...
The evolution of it.
And then obviously when we've got when we're hitting downturns, economic downturns, it's like just a Guinness. It's just a little heart.
Yeah.
It's like the football crest, Stephen. You see the Premier League now, like all the crests, they were quite plain. Then they went kind of flamboyant.
Really
Now
flamboyant.
they're drawing them back to traditional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it was built upon the working man coming,
100%.
spending their hard-earned money to go and watch a bit of football.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be showing money into people's faces or flamboyancy. You want to, be on the same level as those working class people. And so what you're saying, the economy going up and the economy going down, they have to sort of smartly move with it. You know what I mean? They're still making money.
Still charge £100 a ticket.
It's clever, isn't it? Because it's obviously been a working class man's drink, throughout time. For a long time, it's been, you come out of the coal pits, you come out of the factories, you come out of being a machinist or whatever, and obviously it didn't have that flamboyancy. Then you get to the 90s where they started to market it for everyone, and then obviously you can see they've got a really flamboyant harp. And it's almost as if they attracted a new crowd and then went straight back to Guinness again, which I think is really quite smart as well for a branding. And then, as you say, as we've come into this modern era now, everything's contemporary, everything's more stripped back, like your podcast. Yeah. So it's nice to see that edge, but you don't really, you can never see that, can you? You can never look at 132 bottles of Guinness, and think, wow, that's what it looked like in 1800s or 1600s, and then right the way up to what it is now. And
then people back then didn't have the other luxuries. You know what I mean? Now you choose the Guinness to be maybe your luxury on the weekend.
Yeah.
There's so many other things that you can get enjoyment out of.
Yeah.
Where you have to try and put yourself into their shoes. Back in those days, that was their one and only bit of luxury, maybe.
Absolutely.
At the end of a working week, like to have that in their hand and have that drink. So it probably could be a whole nother podcast there to think about, luxuries.
Down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, down the rabbit hole of enjoyment of luxuries, but it is something. I think when you go to those type of storehouses or breweries and stuff like that, just to slow it down a bit, take it back a bit, and just sort of, like you mentioned there, strip back the product and maybe put a bit of emotion to it. You know what I mean? And actually, you can walk away from that now, and all those little intricacies and little stories and dates and everything will stick with you, and you'll tell other people, and you might be able to have a drink and be able to mention that again to somebody, and actually, make a thing of it.
Well, there's 300,000 bubbles in a pint of Guinness.
Conversation starter anyway.
Who'd have known, and you think you know everything. I don't think I know everything about anything, but you kind of get into things. You think, I know a little bit about Guinness, and I've even experienced old footage where they used to make it in two halves. So they used to make the cream, and then they used to make the actual body, and then they used to put it together.
Even more learning here.
So Guinness used to be made in two halves.
Jesus.
So it used to be pulled in two different, which kind of completely devoids everything that we all know about.
Yeah.
Because we all know that Guinness is a long, slow pour, 90 seconds, wait, and then obviously let it settle, and then you go into the top. So I was watching some old footage a couple of weeks ago in the 1920s of Great Britain, of when they were serving it at the end of the day, for lads that came out of the coal mines, and it was literally like one half was your cream, the other half was that, and then they bang it together. Yeah. And they weren't letting anything settle. It was just like getting down the hatch.
There's no artistry to it.
No artistry to it. Also, it's amazing to see how a product can actually, combine artistry and people actually start to buy into that. And the one of the main reasons why I think a lot of people buy Guinness is because of that experience of when you go to a bar. This is the product sales, it's just amazing, is when you go to a bar, no one wants to wait for anything anymore. Yeah. But we'll all be waiting for a Guinness. Yeah. And that's a class bit. It's
unique. Yeah, it's unique.
Yeah. In a modern world where time is of essence and everything's got to be super quick. And
do you reckon they could evolve it and get it out quicker? Do you think it's just a sales tactic?
I think it's if it is, I think it's good, because for the man or woman that drinks Guinness, that sometimes that couple of minutes contemplation. Or that interaction with that bar staff that you wouldn't normally have, because you would normally rock up, get a couple of lagers, a couple of drinks, blah, 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 and you're off, aren't you? Yeah. Whereas I think that kind of still magnifies the actual talking to the person that's serving you.
The person next to you as well.
And the person that's next to you, and the person that's next to you, and we're all waiting for a Guinness. We're all there for the same thing, aren't we?
Yeah.
So really, that's kind of made it more of a family experience drink, because you're all there, waiting for the same thing. So time is a massive of essence in this modern world, but Guinness has been able to make that time and give it to you in a different way, which I think as a product, and that's something that I can learn from, and how they deliver it. You know, it's 4 ingredients. You know, they took the ingredients and they've made it so that it's roasted to a fine high point where 1 more degree and those hops burst into flames. So that's like a bit of science going down there as well. Someone's actually really gone to the actual extreme of, hold on a minute, what can we get away with to the final point?
Proper refinement.
Yeah, it's real refinement of something. And then, like you say, you got to that experience, and I defy anyone not to enjoy it, because there's something for everyone. There's lights flashing, there's, you know, I mean, they've even got a meadow full of, you know, barley. They've got the hops hanging down. They've got a beautiful water show where it actually spells Guinness in water, and they've got Guinness pints dropping from. So I've never seen anything like that, and you know, I would like to think as a designer and artist, you see quite a lot, but it's kind of hidden. You know, I've never seen Guinness promote that.
It's the stout drinkers Disneyland.
It certainly is,
yeah. The only problem is you only get 1 ticket. You know,
Yeah.
otherwise I could have easily had 3 or 4 tickets on that particular occasion.
3 or 4 points then as well.
100%, yeah.
So listen, Andy, what we do, and like we've gone back in time there with Guinness, which was really enjoyable. But what we like to do with our guests is try and go back in time with the guests as well, and take our listeners maybe down memory lane of what your childhood was like, maybe where you grew up, what your schooling was like, and stuff like that. So if you'd like to maybe let me and Keith and our viewers and listeners know a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, honestly, I'm literally just a common guy, working class lad. You know, I grew up in Lancashire. First of all, started off in a little farming village, which I think is really quite nice to be able to have had that side to my childhood. Like any child of the 80s from a working class family, it couldn't have been easy for you know. I mean, I largely come from a one parent family. Yeah. Father, quite proud of him for that, in a sense. In that sense, you know, he might have, for all his faults, he raised his lads pretty well. You know, some might turn around and say, in this modern world, that the schooling and tutorage and home life that I had in the 80s might be a little bit harsh, in a sense, for the modern child. Things were different then, you know, the way you used to chastise your children, the way you used to store values into your children. And we knew back then, my dad was a big guy, you know, he was very well known in any town or village that we lived in. And he was a straight man, a fair man. And I know you guys know exactly what I'm talking about there. Yeah. He didn't pull any punches. He was respected, very well respected, to be fair. Yeah. But also could have been a man that you wouldn't have wanted to disrespect in that sense. Yeah. So for us as children being brought up, I think in today's world, most parents from the 80s would have been arrested for child abuse. Not because they were abusers of the children, but because of first of all, the conditions that we lived in. Yeah. I don't think a lot of people understand the greatness of handing down your clothes to your siblings, or being that last sibling. So for me, largely, I was the last sibling, and I was kind of like, I earmarked my brother's jeans or tracksuit or trainers 2 years before they were even grown out of them. You know what I mean? I'm having them. You know, it was that kind of camaraderie as well, of like, you know, shut up or you're not getting these trainers, you know, one of those kind of things. And I had a couple of older brothers, so things got passed down to us, very much largely, you know. I had a family where I can remember for the first maybe 10 Christmases, every Christmas present was actually probably repurposed or upcycled, that we call today. Yeah. Back then, it was a guy that was literally struggling to bring and raise up his small family. Yeah, he'd walk 5 miles to work, earn a fiver, and walk 5 miles back. You know, and he had 4 kids at home, and his girlfriend as well. Mm-hmm. So his ethics there for actually trying to look after his family were unfathomable. Yeah, I mean, his work ethics have definitely been put into me for that. Yeah, you know, being able to live as an artist on not very much money, putting myself from a 50 grand a year job, 50, 60 grand a year job, onto nothing a year job for 5 years. I knew how to live because of my childhood. I knew how to make things last. I knew how to make things, you know.
Yeah.
The gifts that we got as a child. I mean, he would go to, we have a tip. You know what a tip is? Like a refuge centre. So you have a dump.
Yeah,
don't you?
yeah, yeah.
Loves a dump.
Yeah.
We'd go and rob the dump on a night. You know, we'd get like 4 bikes for Christmas that were completely rusted up, frames knackered, bearings gone. You know, completely destroyed bikes, you know, and we'd get them there and a couple of neighbours would be sniggering. You know how it used to be. Because have a couple of posh neighbours that could get everything from Universal Catalogue back then.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you'd have, like, you know, this one-man tinkerer that, you know, thought he could fix and build the world kind of thing. But he could. That was the difference. And when we get up on Christmas morning, we'd have brand new bikes that looked like they come out of a coach painter's shop. All the original logos, all the original emblems, all the original seats. These things have been made over 6-7 months. You know, it was an art to him. You know, he'd go in and spray a petrol tank and go in down and strip down a push pedal bike for his son that was 9 years old or something. So much so on Christmas morning, you wake up on Christmas morning and you'd have kids from the estate that I lived on. I moved over to a council estate. Not the roughest of council estates. It was in the countryside. It was a council-owned estate. But it was in the countryside where it was quite, I'd say it was middle classy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we used to have people knocking on our doors with my brothers, and they'd come with their mums and dads, and they'd be like, "Do you mind if Rowan swaps his bike with your John? Because you know, they really like it, and they want to do it."
We paid this for that one, and you know.
And my dad's like, "I built that from tip."
Scratch,
and then my dad said to one of the sons, "You know, do you want to swap it?" And they'd be like, "No, I don't." And they'd be like, "Well, he doesn't want to swap it." So, and they'd be like, "Well, do you want to paint his?" You know, so. So my childhood kind of came from that. Came from. I remember my dad taking me to a gift charity shop. Quite a religious place. It was a church. We used to go to Sunday school. You know, on many times on a Sunday because my auntie was very religious. So when we stayed with my auntie, we went to Sunday school every Sunday.
Had to be done.
Had to. It was the law. You know what I mean? You stood up and you sat down. You were polite. That's just how it was. And that was in Bradford, Yorkshire. So you didn't mess around back then.
Yeah.
And, you know, I remember going to a Goodwill charity shop and buying a pair of chinos for 50p, you know, and being that excited to wear them on Christmas Day. You know, that like I couldn't put that into like maybe now children have got 110s, Nike 110s, Nike 90, whatever they're called. I don't, you know, I'm not into it all, on cloud, whatever, But I would put it into that kind of lightning because it was very rare that we got clothes that weren't school clothes.
But that resilience that would have built within you, you don't see that nowadays at all within, you know, young kids or
not at all.
Teenagers. You know,
no,
you don't
I mean,
see it.
I do know a few single parent families, and I do know a couple of single parent families that have been females that have brought up the children on their own, or been male. On their own. And I do find that working class kids, and I don't want anyone to shoot me down for this, seem to be a little bit more, or back when I was growing up, a lot more respectful. You know, a lot more please and thank you. I think because you knew what the outcome would have been if you wasn't like that anyway. You know, I remember being taken into places when I was a kid, and my dad used to say, you know, you come in here and you sit down, like, this is a mate of mine and we're doing a bit of business and going to put food on the table. So any of you mess around, you get in the car, you're going to get a dig, you know, and that was enough. It wasn't a threat of violence in a sense. It was a threat of like, listen, this is important stuff.
Yeah.
And we're going to eat from this
Have respect,
understanding of what they're probably talking about, literally probably talking about old coins or something like metal detecting or fixing something, you know, like it could have been put in a new wishbone and an Austin Allegro outside on, you know, it's one of those types of deals. Business, you know, get us 10 cigs and a fiver. So that was the business that was going down, and you just need to respect that. In today's modern world, obviously I work in education. And I'm not stating a fact here, so I'm not making any proclamation. I'm not making a claim to anything, but you find I'm quite lucky. I have quite a presence in any classroom that I'm teaching, because obviously I take this character in. I turn up as Andy Artist. You know, that's something that a lot of my bosses have respected because they know I'm an artist outside of college. They know that I run my own business, and they've seen my work. And obviously I've spoken to them, I've been interviewed on the phone, so they know what I'm about. So I don't really get much disrespect from students. In fact, if anything, I'm stood in front of a student and they can see a man that's in front of them that's come from a very similar background to their parents in many circumstances.
Relate.
So they respect it straight away, and I respect them. I open doors for students. I'm one of very few lecturers that actually go into colleges and actually open the door for every student. You know, and that's not meaning like the end product of their education. I mean, actually, I open the doors.
Yeah.
Get yourself through, lads.
Yeah.
Then it might be 3 to 6 weeks or even 2 months. But that's reciprocated. And the reason why I do that is because of what you've just brought up, is there's not a lot of respect because it isn't installed anymore.
No.
When children have children, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, I don't have children, okay? So people can, what do you know about having a family and what do you know about having children? Well, I've taught over 3,000 and qualified them, young adults.
So you've seen them all.
So I know quite a bit about it. And I've also helped the ones that struggle, and I've also made the ones that are excelling excel to points where they've won awards for the actual education that they've received.
Yeah.
And they've put the hard work in, so they've reaped that reward. I don't see a lot of respect in today's modern society, not just children. I think adults, you know, we're very lucky. I've got to think about being from the same tribe, the clan, all that type of stuff. And you always find people that are cut from the same cloth. Doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
You will find that. Nowadays, we're focused on hipsters, you know, trendy people, all this type of stuff, and that's very much what you're going to look at 5 different types of human being. It's kind of like a life thing. It's the same with the respect from children. You've got like five types of young adult, in a sense, if you will, and you can see roughly what they're going to kind of shape into. That you can't install virtues into young people if the young people having young people haven't had them themselves. Yeah. And it's a flaw in parenting that, you know, people say, how can you say that? You're not a parent. Well, I am a parent. You know, I am a parent. I'm an educator. You know, I'm a parent. I'm a psychologist. I'm a best mate. I'm an auntie. I'm an uncle. I'm a guardian. I'm a safeguarder. And I'm everything in between. Yeah. So that leaves it to people like me to be able to get into, and I mean this in a nice way, the minds of unruly young students. And they're not always from working class backgrounds. In fact, the richest of students that I've taught are probably the worst. Because of that, because everything's given to them and gifted to them. But being the way that I am in life and being the human that I am, I've always been able to find a connection with them. And it's usually through showing them results that no one else has been able to show them before. Yeah. When you have someone that's in front of you and someone like me who's very confident, there's a fine line, isn't there, between confidence and arrogance. And I think that's something that a lot of adults, again, mistake because of the inability to respect someone's confidence in the field that they're in. So if that's art or design, I can hold my weight, you know.
We only had a chat about that during the week. Yeah. In, well, a lot of younger person, but, you know, not being able to, you know, arrogance from other people kind of curtailing, you know, someone's confidence, if you want to put it that way.
It's very difficult because you have cockiness, don't you? Which is book shy, and you kind of want that bravado a little bit in anyone that's young and older, especially. I think a lot of older people, especially my age, need to actually put it back into themselves. I don't know how they would do that, but with younger people, you need that cocksure. You know, you need that attitude of I can do. You know, and we stay away from elitism, which I'm not about being elite in anything, but we do need to somehow celebrate coming first. But then you've got the other side of it where, unfortunately, it's like someone who's been a shadow boxer for 20 years and never had a fight. That's kind of how I would explain it.
You look at the likes of education nowadays, and, you know, what you've explained there, like, you know, a guardian, you know, a parent, that's somebody that really cares about the kids that are coming through that door. And, you know, if there's any way that you can mould them in any way, great. But you also have to be able to see their potential, their limits, and, you know, give them a bit of free rein, like you said, to be able to, you know, stick their chest out and be who they are, but also give them the bit of guidance that if they get knocked back a bit, that they have that resilience. And what Keith mentioned there, like we were talking during the week about, you know, certain educators or schools or, you know, teachers that might be single-minded or, you know, looking down one avenue, and they're trying to make that student or, you know, anybody that they're trying to, like, imprint on who they are. And you can't do that, you know what I mean? You have to be able to give a child or a teenager that bit of freedom to grow and be who they are themselves, you know?
The expression of the younger mind is very important, and I can liken it to art students. Having been an art lecturer, pretty much, when you have one style of something that's being taught, okay, so in art, for example, let's just say we pick the Renaissance period, all right? So we have 400 children, young adults, and we're going to teach them how to be a Renaissance painter. So you're looking at certain artists and you're looking at, you know, certain colour palettes and how they've done it and the forms and shapes and everything else. You're going to get many practitioners of education that, as you said, they try to imprint their style of art and their understanding of it straight onto a student. So what we end up with is loads of clones of people. Yeah. And that's what we see a lot on Instagram. You know, and I'm not knocking any Instagram artists.
I know what you're talking about, though.
But what we see is a plethora of the same things. It's the same genre. And that skill of being that good at something ends with that person that's teaching you. That person should be able to teach you how to do what they do, and then they should be mesmerised through your understanding and misunderstanding of what they've taught you into becoming up with something that's far more greater than they've ever taught you. That's the real importance. I make paint formulas and I tell students about it sometimes, and they're like, wow, that's nuts. And I'll actually tell students how I've made them. Not other artists, not other adults, but I'll tell students how I've made them, because someone told me once how to not make my formulas, and that's how I came up making my formulas. So for them to be able to understand it properly, they need to be able to, first of all, understand how to recreate it, and then secondly, learn that every accident that they make on the way to recreating what I'm doing is a new formula.
Yeah.
Now, if we did that in all forms of education, we'd end up with excellence in every single area. Now, of course, you're going to get other students that excel more than others, but that's only a matter of time. You know, I only went to, I left school at 15, you know, left school with minimal qualifications, went back into education when I was 21, excelled on a massive level to the point where even I was blown away at how I excelled. But that's because the person that was teaching me always said to me, you're going to be better than what I was. This is how I do something. And we'd copy it, and he'd come over to your work and cross it out. All you've done is copied my work. What's the why?
That's what I asked you to do. Yeah.
I asked you to copy it, asked you to use the style of what I've done, and then put something out that's even better. And then you get the odd student, well, that's nowhere near as accomplished as what yours is or whatever. Yeah, but the idea and the concept is better of what you're trying to create. We can all join two pieces of wood together. We can all make a new butcher's block. We can all do this and do everything else. If we keep on pushing into the young minds that there's only one particular way to do something, we'll end up with butcher's blocks that look like this for the rest of the time. And that's not what it's supposed to be about. What I do in my classes, and I call them master classes, is I look for students that are using the techniques that I've taught them. Let's say, for example, bench joinery. So scribing and cutting and angles and mitres and everything else. And I'll show them a perfected way that I can do it safely. So this, look, lads and ladies, if you don't want to chop your fingers off, trust someone, you know what I mean? Someone that's got less digits. This is how you need to do it safely, you know? And then they'll devise a completely new way of doing stuff. Some of it's hyperly dangerous, where I've got to shut down the whole class and bang the switch and go like, stop, where's the glasses, where's this, where's your goggles, where's your mask? That's cool, all right? That's health and safety, that's what I'm there for. But then sometimes I'll look at a student do something, and the way they've cross-cuts into something and then put a rebate and then put a chamfer on something, and it wouldn't be anywhere how I would do it with the tools, the skills or anything. But it's quicker, it's faster, it's better, it's leaner. It's just like, wow. Yeah. So I'll stop the whole class and I'll say, right then, Marcus or Maxwell or Roger or whoever, or Mary or Susan, whoever, can you just show us how you've done that? And largely, some of them will clam up and go, you know. But again, that's another system that I built into a classroom, because you're not putting them under the kibosh. You're actually allowing them to come out in their peer groups where they would never come out before. And you might have pockets of peer groups that look down on these students. But just hold on a minute. Watch how he does this, or watch how she does this. And when they show something that's finessed in their own way, that's how we do it from then on. Yeah. I don't need to teach you my way anymore. Yeah. That my way is one way of doing something. You know, I've got here on a by plane. Could have got here on a boat. You know, could have swam it. You know, it doesn't mean that the perfect way to do something is my way. And I think that's the most important thing that we do as educators. And in your jobs that you do when you're working with your electrician apprentices, or you've got your nephews or your nieces, it's a life thing where we need to be able to go, look, this is the way that I got taught. But if you come up with a far better way, Uncle Roger or Uncle Andy or whoever is going to roll that out to his mates at work. And we're now living in an era where you can actually make a video and show that child or that student or that young adult. Look at how this adult's buzzing off what you've taught them. And it kind of just sets the hierarchy a little bit, because you might have a shy retired student, might be slightly bullied, might be slightly, goaded by other students. But inside that student, they've got skills that I'm like, wow, man, if I was that good, this is next level. So I'll try and bring that out in the class so that there's a little bit more respect for that student. And when that student shows some, especially when it's hand-making things, all the other guys that were a little bit like cocksure, it kind of seats them down a little bit. And it makes them think, hold on a minute, and then give it a week or two, they'll be over to that student. Do you want to show us how you did that? That's a magical moment, because then you've got inclusion on every level. Yeah. Not just inclusion on knowledge, but you've got inclusion on, like, friendship. You've got inclusion on respect.
Did you have any teachers like that in your earlier years? I know you mentioned your dad and, his keen eye for craft and artistry, maybe not through choice, but through, needing
necessity.
Yeah. Did you have anyone like that in school?
I went to St Michael's High School in Chorley. Yeah. It's a Church of England high school. Yeah. It's proper religious. We weren't religious people. We had to. I come from a family where we had to appeal to get every son in that school, probably because of the sons before. Yeah.
Track record.
Yeah, the track record of that. Mrs. Cardwell, who came to my degree show, and he invited a couple of teachers. Mrs. Cardwell turned up, and she was like a pre-Raphaelite artist, painter, ceramicist, bohemian hippie. Like she lived in the countryside. She lived in a little village where I initially grew up. Yeah. So we had that familiarity anyway, and she'd heard of my father's name, and and obviously primary school teachers talked to secondary school teachers and everything else in between. Yeah. I remember working on a Nimbus. Do you remember the Nimbus BBC computers? Old school, with the cartridge drives that you put in and the floppy disks. No one probably, people our age will understand that's what we're talking about. Yeah. But this is like loading up, and loading up for 15 minutes. And I had a 45-minute lesson, and it was after 4 o'clock this lesson, so you stayed after school just to. Yeah. And she taught me then art. Now I didn't know this, but it was actually graphic design because it was on a computer. So I literally had a program where you could just do lines. Just lines, nothing else. You couldn't do a square, you couldn't do a circle. You could draw one if you drew your own square, make it out of lines. Yeah. And then you could auto fill in these little areas. And it first of all started off in grayscale. It's just everything's grey and scale, black and white. So everything was like monochrome. And I used to love that palette because there's a lot of bands at the time that used monochrome because of the fact that you couldn't get it in any, you couldn't get the packages to do anything else. And then all of a sudden, she came up to me one day and was like, "Oh, the Nimbus has got a new hardware." And I'm like, "What is it?" She went, "You can fill in colour." And we had colour TVs and everything, but and it filled a gradient of colour, so it could have started off at pink and then gone to green to blue to yellow. That was a different situation. And she was my form tutor throughout secondary school. Yeah, she was probably the most calming individual I'd ever met. She identified that I was being bullied earlier on because my two brothers were the cock of the school. Well, one of them was trying to be, but the other one was like cock of the school in the third year. No one messed with, he had a full-grown beard at 14-year-old, I mean, even the teachers, like standoffish, leave this guy alone kind of thing. Coming up through the ranks, anyone that my brother had leaned on, we'll get him at break time. That's his younger brother kind of thing. So I did martial arts to back it all up and everything else, and knew they were leaving before I would get to that prime age of being able to back myself up. Yeah. But she looked after me and she identified that I was being bullied. And so what she did was she made like a program. And at the time, no other child got this. But it was a case of at lunchtimes and breaks, I could go in and use the Nimbus computer. Right. So I was just in this complete different world. And then one day I saw a drawing that she did, and it was ceramic. She was, she did ceramic glazes and things like that. She made all sorts of mad stuff. And I saw a drawing that she did all freehand, and it looked like a million different curvy lines, but you could see a pot in the middle of it. And I was like, how have you done that? I couldn't understand. It was what we call the working drawing as an arts designer. But I just, as a 12, 13-year-old lad, I was like, this is phenomenal. It looked like she just pulled it out of a page. It was 3D, you can see everything. Yeah. So I was like, can you show me how to do that? And she was like, oh, it'll take a long time. And I was like, and one of my oldest brother, he was what I would call a naturally gifted artist. He could just copy anything. I had to work at being an artist. I had to really learn how to draw. I had to really learn how to do a portrait. I had to really learn how to do form, shape, and figure, and portraits and stuff like that. So she spent maybe, well, the whole of my secondary year school life at any point she could. And I got removed from her form group later on.
Yeah.
Not through, not for anything bad, but I ended up getting moved into got moved into a different one. But they had the computers there, so I was just on the computers all the time. So Mrs. Cardwell probably was the most poignant figure ever. There was a ceramicist tutor, Mr. O'Brien, I think he was called, and I made a fox's head. And the fox's head actually looked like a fox's head. I mean, it's unreal. You know, even to me, I was every Thursday afternoon, I was like, ceramics, I'm going to go and finish my fox's head. You know, it's one of those things.
You're right, yeah.
I came to it one day and someone had punched a fist mark in it because it was that good. Other students were
jealousy, yeah.
Yeah, and so someone had punched it.
Yeah.
And I remember getting like furiously angry, not upset. You know, I was like spitting feathers. And he was like, Andy, you don't understand. He was like, one man can destroy it, one man can fix it. And I'm like, who's that man? And he was like, well, you. And that's when I learned early on that, especially with floods, especially with things not going right in your life, if any human being has broke a situation, there's another human being that can fix that situation. I'm very fortunate in being instilled the thought that, and I'm crazy enough to think I'm that human. And there's no one coming to save me. You know, I don't have a wife that's got loads of money. I don't have a girlfriend that secretly works and has got a nest egg. You know, there's just, in that sense, there's just me. I'm my own provider. There's a lot of men are, aren't we? You know what I mean? We are our own providers. So if something goes wrong,
don't wait for someone else.
I am the guy that comes to fix it in that sense. And I've learnt that being at Stock and Ford, the first company that myself and my mate Andy started, which I've proudly give back to Andy, and it's a function, you know, it's a beautiful thing that I've given back to Andy, and it works as basic as what I'm going to be doing on my own, in a sense.
What does that entail?
That entailed laser designing, all the arts that you see that I do now, furniture, sculptures, local signage for heritage signage, from cafes, restaurants to bar tabletops, resin work to all mad stuff that, you know, that I'm saying I'm going to be doing now is what we kind of did a little bit at Stock and Ford. And I've learned then that very quickly that I had not a lot when I started off at Stock and Ford. In fact, I was living in my Ford Fiesta, which is really quite mad to think that now, because, you know, I don't live in a Ford Fiesta anymore. But for 5 years, I lived in a Ford Fiesta, pissed in a bucket, shat in a bucket, cut hot dog sausages from a tin in half, especially over COVID. I mean, it were great. They were £1 a tin after COVID. They were like £2.50 a tin. I mean, what happened, you know? So I wouldn't being able to survive literally for a fiver on 3 days. Brexit. So like literally now it's like it was 15 quid over 3 days. You know, everything just doubled in it overnight. But the point that I was trying to make there is local businesses and people like Old Town General Store, you know, they saw my art and they were like, do you want to put some art in the store? And I was like, yeah. And I've seen a couple of shop fittings that it had done, and I never go in anywhere. And I'm like, you know, I was like, who's done your shop fitting and blah blah blah. And they would say, to be honest with you, I wasn't really happy with the person that came and did it, or they weren't on my vibe, or the work isn't quite how I wanted it. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, so I obviously expressed their needing money like mad. You know, well, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. Which I actually could do all these things. You know, that was the beauty of it. I wasn't someone that was learning on the spot. I actually could do it. So I worked with these people and worked with multiple companies throughout Stockport, never making any profit. I'm literally made enough money to pay for materials and probably buy myself a few pints and some food. But that was enough to get my work out there. Exactly. And to be seen. So for 3 or 4 years, I worked for nothing. Literally, not for nothing in the sense of I was paid for the materials, you know, and I was paid for what I courted that job. But Stockport was and still is a very small town. I can't go in and charge Dublin prices for a bar refit because Dublin prices aren't there. But if you want the work and you want your work to be seen for the next 3 years, so this is my business savvy, I'm like, well, it's going to be X amount for your materials and chucked an extra 500 quid on for 4 lads to go and do it over 3 days. So we'd all have a beer and go back to that bar and get drunk for a few nights for nothing. But more importantly, our work was there and it had our name at the bottom of it. So that's what got my work seen and that's what got my artwork seen. So without knowing that I was doing that, that became a business model.
Yeah.
And it became a pretty good business model. I'm not saying to any artist, go and do this, because you literally live on nothing. You know, I wasn't earning any money. I was living very, very frugally. I mean, I was
It
literally
was
living
right
in
for
my car.
you at the time, like.
But for me, it worked.
Literally cutting your teeth, like.
Yeah, but it worked, and it was a good avenue to be able to then understand you are the guy that makes people's dreams a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everyone's dreams, but the people that was coming to me, I realised, hold on a minute, you're that guy, Andy. So
You mentioned you told us a story there up in the room just before we went live, you know, about, you know, creating a bit of art and providing a bit of art to, you know, say hospitals or, you know, centres where people could be having their last breath. And it just brought a bit of emotion into the room, like where you're thinking about, you know, the last thing that somebody could look at could be one of your, you know, art on the wall. And does that type of emotions stick with you when you're creating the art? Is it that type of thing what you create the art for, to think that, you know, somewhere where your art could be the, you know, the be all and end all for somebody, or the last thing that somebody could see? Or is it just what comes to you at the time and you don't even know what you've created until, you know, you get feedback from it?
a very hardcore family member of mine died about 3.5, 4 years ago. And I knew they were ill for 6 years before. And I'd been to some of these treatment rooms, and they were genuinely, you'd want to kill yourself.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't nice places. Although the respite care and everything else you were getting was immaculate. The people that work in these places, I can't fault any of that.
Yeah.
But I was staring at these walls, and first of all, I was thinking, I'm not just going to let that name die, because this person meant they were my world. Like, on every level, they were my world. And I shared the same name as this magical human being, family member. So I thought, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start painting colourful, magical, bright paintings and have his name on them. That's my name. So that, because he was an artist that didn't really get seen for his work. And then, as he was dying, I started to think the walls that I was seeing were just, it was depressing, man. You know, it fucking really, you know, sorry for swearing. It welded my head on a completely different, I couldn't understand, there was nothing to look at. And then a friend of mine turned around and said, you should donate one of your paintings to the place that's looking after him, which was Christie's. It was Christie's in Manchester. And so I got in touch with Christie's, and they just wouldn't allow me to donate anything. They just, I didn't resonate with them or whatever, you know. 18 months later, I saw that they were working with a different artist and they were doing it, which is beautiful. But there was a cancer care centre close by that we'd all use for respite care. And it made me realise then that with my work being the way it is, it's kind of like brighter places and brighter faces. And because there's a multitude of different things, I've given you a painting today. You'll see it's supposed to be a stomata of a plant that's been cut in half, but you'll see a galaxy in there because I've painted things in there to make sure that you see that later on. Yeah. Or you'll see a face somewhere, or you'll see a dog cocking its leg, or you'll see a cock, because in a lot of my paintings I put a cock to make people laugh. Yeah. So for these particular, it's got to be done, you know. It's got to be, because people are just staring at a giant cock.
4% of people do it anyway.
Do you know what I mean? So just, I mean, it's got to be done. So it was a joke that I had with a family member, and he was like, "Yes, we just painted a cock in that one." So I painted them for everyone.
Like Where's Wally type of thing, is it?
Yeah. So I spot the cock, and once you see it, that's it. It's like, oh, there's the cock, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so, anyway, and so these things that, you know, I wanted other people to be able to lose themselves. Yeah. I wanted other people to be able to. I used to look and zone in at a wall, and that wall was not giving me any feedback at all, you know what I mean? In fact, I swear I could have seen through that wall into the next room and seen other people grieving at the same thing. Yeah. So I just thought to myself, if you can put something bright, and like you've just said, you've hit the nail on the head, if you can put something bright in there and you can leave something that people can take away, and more importantly, how magical is it to think that someone, and this is not a pretentiousness, cocky, anything, how magical is it that for someone that's in the last moment, and I died 3 times in a car crash, so I know what it's like to die, and all I saw was an ambulance. was literally the roof of an ambulance. It was pretty boring. So I just thought, how magical to give them a world that they could focus on, or a universe, and they could have gone to a different place just for that 1 second.
I'm sure in those places there's a lot of what would you call it, daydreaming, or just looking into space. If you had something nice to look into, or actually something that did look like space, would be nice, wouldn't it?
And that's why I did Cities in the Skies. So I did a huge range of paintings called Cities in the Skies, which I'm about to revive, but actually put architecture in them now instead of just abstract architecture, where I've put an effigy in there for people to see a mountain or this or whatever. Now I'm actually going to paint the actual buildings. Now I'm going to paint the structures and put forms in them, so people are like, that is a city in the sky. Yeah. But I had to lead up to that, so it would make sense and resonate. And you are right, just to leave that moment where people can just lose themselves in art. That some of the nicest paintings I've ever looked at aren't paintings of anything. Yeah. They're not paintings of a building. They're an effigy of what I call expressionate abstract, where the artist has painted something and in themselves afterwards have gone, oh, it looked like Mary from down the street, so that's who it is. Or it looked like Brian, or it looked like the guy from the Butchers. So it's be called the Butcher, or it'd be called, sort of the town hall or whatever. My abstract's intentional. I paint things to be able to see later on where you're like, oh my God, he's painted that, or oh my God, he's painted that. Yeah. Whereas now, to take it to the next step, I think because art only resonates with certain people, and not many people get a chance to actually look at something quickly, because if you look at art, you're literally looking at it and you're off. So the next stage is to bring realism into what I'm doing with a complete dynamic abstract edge. That sounds like proper piffle to loads of artists, but it is actually what I'm trying to do next.
Sounds right anyway, doesn't it?
I think it's all right. Anyway, so we'll go for that. But that's kind of what I'm trying to lead into next, is to try and make it so it's more intentionally not obscure, so where you can see it.
It's there.
And then it's just there. And then hopefully that might capture people to look further on instantly, rather than I've had people buy paintings and they've even said, Andy, I've looked at your painting now for 3 months and I've just seen this in it. And I'm like, well, you weren't looking at it for 3 months then, were it? Because if you were, you'd have seen it on the first day. Yeah. Can you see what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, yeah.
You mentioned there during that previous segment about a car crash.
Yeah.
Dying, obviously 3 times is a lot worse than once. But
I don't think they wanted me.
What happened, and did it have any impact on your mindset towards what you were doing now and with your life since that moment?
Yeah. So I lived on a very busy main road. It was a 40 mile an hour main road, driveway at the bottom. Used to park on the side of the road at the bottom. Totally legal to do so. Had a flyover going over to one side. So people genuinely used to hit the flyover at about 60. That's just what you do, innit? You go to, let's get on the flyover. No cameras, you know what I mean? I was literally got to the bottom of my car. I'd run my brother actually at the time. He was struggling a little bit in his life. And I was like, don't worry, mate, I'm going to come and see you, So I was going to go over for the night, just spend the night there and get back off to work the day after. And I remember sitting in the car and literally just getting my phone and putting it in your centre console. So I hadn't put my seatbelt on. So centre console, next thing you know, sharp metal taste, whack. That's all I can remember. And then obviously after the crash, months and months after, I can remember fire engine came, getting up, collapsing, coming to in the ambulance. Bit of a jokery with the ambulance woman because she was amazing. And she went, right, stand back. And she was like literally doing that again. So I was like, don't do that to me, literally. And she was like, we've done it 3 times already. You're lucky to be here. And then, so she pulled out a huge needle, massive needle. And people go, it can't be. I'm talking. She actually turned around to me and said, I've never give anyone the amount of morphine that I'm about to give you now. She said, but you need to go to a happier place, which was, that's poignant. Yeah. And I remember she's count down to 10, Andy, you know what I mean? As if they're giving you anaesthesia, because you want to know how much they're giving you, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Gone. So it affected me in many different ways. I had a cracked sternum, smashed my knee, smashed my back to bits, smashed my head to bits. At that time, my hair started falling out massively in clumps, not just from lads whose hair fall out, like exacerbated. And I lost the colour in my vision to the point where I can only see the colour pink. So that was like frightening because I'd always, because obviously I was a qualified designer
As an artist and
that
designer,
had worked with colour and done colour theory and everything. So I'd always struggled a little bit with greens and blues. So sometimes, you know, I'd get a green sky or a bluegrass, you know, but it was only certain times of the day, and it would kind of you could just become the norm. I remember coming to, and for about 6 months, I was terrified of even saying to my family at the time, you know, the family that I was more of the girlfriend that I had at the time, and her family, which was more into their family. Telling them anything. You know, I became a recluse. I became quiet. Thinking back, they must have thought that I turned into a complete dick. You know, like, because I'd gone from being a really happy, go-lucky, you know, 30-year-old, 29-year-old to all of a sudden like a miserable, horrible, miserable person. You know, when you get into these states of mind, I've seen people locked in them for like 50 years, like old men talk to you at the end of a bar. You know, like, my life used to be wicked until this happened. Yeah. And you're like, fuck, you know, like, why didn't you know, and they're talking about it when it's too late. Yeah. I remember driving home from work, I think it was about 18 months after, so I was still going to CBT therapy. The bill for the CBT therapy was 19.5 grand. Yes. So that tells you, you know, the therapy that I had to have afterwards. And the behind the doors that people don't see in your life, you know, what you've had to relive and go through again. And I remember looking up, it was a Friday, just finished work, and I remember looking up, everyone was smiling in the cars, everyone. And I was like, I want a piece of this. I actually want a piece of this, massively. And it was that day I made a conscious decision to be an artist again, to get back to being the man that the woman that I was with for 9 years at that time had fallen in love with, but had somehow I'd become not that man and told I wasn't going to be that man. That was the hardest thing that I had to change, was to understand that person had fallen in love with me when I was a badass, kick-ass artist and designer. And over 9 years, I've become a tutor, a lecturer, and a boyfriend, and a provider, and someone that just got into a rut of just being an ant. And that's what made me realise then the colour change was a huge difference, because I was too frightened to tell anyone, because I thought I might lose my driving licence. I thought people might look at me in a completely different way. I thought that I would have some kind of disability because of that. So I didn't know if options were going to be closed down. So I quickly started to learn colours from shades. So I'd look at my phone, type in green, and recognise that shade. And then I could remember what green was from the colour that I had of green. And I'd start to teach myself green. I'd lost 60% of my memory, but I was too frightened again to tell the family that I was with, or even my employers, because I was a teacher. I was actually a teacher. I was teaching kids that were from, like, they were about to go into jails or just come out of, like, you know, units for being really, you know, quite bad human beings, really.
Trouble there.
So I was feared for a lot of stuff. And then one day I woke up and I was just like, you know what, fuck it. Just come be yourself, I just have to deal with who I am. And then I started fighting back, which is why I'm single. Because I started fighting back, because I wasn't just going to be this guy that you'd fallen in love with that was this, but now you've told me I'm never going to be that, but you fell in love with that, but now
you can't be that.
You can't be that because you've told me I can't be that. It's quite destructive. Some relationships can be quite destructive, and they didn't know they were doing that, and they weren't set out to do that. They weren't. They were a nice human being. Well, that's just what happens in some relationships. You know, family pressures of her side or whatever, and everything
changes
else changed me. You know, because I was living in Liverpool and I'm literally seen as a mank by the rest of the world. So there's a warring faction there, where, you know, and that was always the case in that sense. You know what I mean? I was always the Manchester boyfriend in that sense. So I had to start to realise that I had a little bit more self-worth and that I could recognise colours again. So I knew that I wasn't going to lose my licence. I'd read up about it. Doesn't matter. You know, I can see, I know what traffic lights are. I know what a blue light, you know, what a blue sign is and everything else. I could see all that. So then all that worry went. And when that worry went and I came back to being able to talk properly again, because I had a little bit of a stutter afterwards. Not a massive stutter, but I had a stutter as a kid and I noticed it. So I was constantly hiding it and, do you know what I mean? And hiding around it and not talking because of it and not engaging much because of it. Because I was frightened that people would take the mick out of me out of it. And that was the culture and family that I was in, you know what I mean? And that was right to do. You know, we used to take the mick out of each other and all that type of stuff. But that was something that was really quite harsh for me. So when I realised that I was just a normal human being again, and I was then told that my family member was going to be very poorly, you know, and it was terminal, and there was nothing we could do. That's when I actually turned around and said, like, no, I'm not going to be this person for this person.
Yeah.
I need to be me.
Yeah,
So
take
then-
your own path then, yeah.
Yeah, so then I literally, you know, said, look, this isn't for me, it's not for you, you know what I mean? And I went and lived in my car and became an artist. And that was then the 6-year journey
That artistry that I've obviously seen through Instagram since you've followed our page, and you know, you reached a point there late last year, probably right at the cusp of New Year's there, where you had a massive challenge or a crossroads within. I think like a lot of people would have, you know, shut up shop and just thought, this is it. Somebody doesn't want me to do this here. Can you let us know what happened to you?
Yeah, so obviously I'd spent 6 months rebuilding. I'd waited a year and a half to have a proper workshop again. A really decent friend at the time had said, look, you know, I was working with their business and everything else, promoting their products, and they was like, look, you know, you can have a space in our place, which was mint. Totally cool with that person. You know, I respect that person forever for that.
Yeah.
No matter what's happened in between, I respect that guy for that. So we spent 6 months to build everything, the infrastructure of both businesses, all businesses that were involved. I built myself a lovely showroom and really nice new art studio. Got it to the point where, you know, everyone had spent a lot of money on their own things, what they were doing.
Yeah.
I painted a submarine, you know, and did a set design so people could see, you know, this is like the kind of quality of stuff that I can do for you. Maybe if you'd have wanted a map door for your podcast room, all this type of stuff, just all promotional stuff. I woke up on New Year's Day. I hadn't been out and got on it New Year's Eve. You know, I'd had a couple of drinks, but nothing major, because I knew I was going to be into my new business. So that was me out of education. I shouldn't have really need to be in education anymore. Focus on my art. My paintings were selling well. Everything's going good. You know what I mean? Woke up to 9:30. Don't come into the studio. So I'm like, what the fuck are you on about? Because initially I'm thinking, this isn't right, because we've never been on that level where don't come in. You know, it's always been a case of, look, maybe I have some clients coming in today, you know, make yourself scarce for a few hours, big business going down, no problem. Do you know what I mean? I'll go and do my own thing, or I'll be in my studio doing my own thing and just be in my own thing. Yeah. But it's like, look, you'll be cool coming, your head will fall off and you'll be devastated. And I was like, what's going on here? I think you need to turn your TV on. So obviously I turned the TV on in that moment and I couldn't find anything on it, and I got a ping, 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 ping come through, and there's like literally a 7-foot flood. That painting that I've just given you was 7 foot underwater. Some might turn around and say it was 5.5 foot. The line of where that was, it was 7 foot high. That was 7 foot underwater, and with me swishing and everything else. So I got down to the unit, and having just rebuilt everything and got everything into a beautiful poetic situation, you know, like I don't have to teach anymore. I'm going into, you know,
Start at something.
People can't understand, you know, I only went into teaching for 16 months to basically get a new car and to to up my life so that I could put all that money into. Because a lot of people must think to themselves, oh, Andy drives a nice car. That's come from art. It hasn't come from art. It's come from me lecturing and driving to London, driving to Scotland, driving to Portsmouth, sleeping in that car in the early years to save money so that I didn't have to pay rent on places, Airbnbs, so that I could put it into my business. Yeah. So this incorrect understanding, and maybe sometimes of when you look at people, you don't really know what's going on in the life.
The sacrifice that went on behind
it. And I was earning great money, but I was also sacrificing all of that money to put into my business. A lot of people would have paid a mortgage with it. A lot of people would have gone on holidays. I haven't been on a holiday for 6 years. I went to Canada as a commission in January, and I needed a holiday after it. It was that intense. Do you know what I mean? 29 hours, just one way there, 29 hours back. It's an intense thing, and then you're painting there. And although I got to relax, I didn't really relax in that sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to put it all into perspective, I'm not a guy, that's ever thought I'm going to do myself in. Other than one time on Stockport Viaduct, 2 years into doing my art, when I lost my loved one, and I was stood there, and I thought, just fucking jump off, Andy, mate. You know, it's a good 70 foot high. And I was actually on Stockport Viaduct in the Vale, in Stockport Vale. And I was pissed out of my mind. And I never lose myself like that. Very rare. And I slipped. And there's a bracket hanging out at the top of the viaduct, and I grabbed it.
Fucking hell.
And it was fucking loose. It was like one of them films. And I grabbed it with that hand, needing to get over with that hand. I was fucked. And, you know, in my mind, right there and then, that was me. I was done. And I was screaming, help, someone. It was fucking 12 o'clock at night. Ain't no one coming to your rescue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how I got up off that piece of metal bracket that's still there, and people can go and see under the fourth archway as you walk through in the Vale. You'll still see the metal bracket that's loose. I don't know how I got back up there. It's like some kind of major intervention. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that screaming nearly proved that there was still something in there.
Well, I wanted to
Something-
live.
Left in you, yeah.
Because when I got back on that viaduct, I was like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I was instantly sober, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, yeah.
And when the flood happened, for that split second, I thought, fuck me, Andy, man. Like, you'd be hanging from a tree the next 5 weeks. Because it had destroyed everything.
Yeah.
Everything I'd ever worked for.
I
Everything
remember the stories you were putting up on Instagram was real. You know,
I didn't want to
the
put
end.
anything up.
Yeah.
But then people were expecting me to be in this shiny new showroom.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. I don't want to be on Instagram. I just got to get this right for everybody. I don't want to be on Instagram. I don't like putting my face on Instagram. I don't like giving my anonymity away and people knowing exactly who I am when I walk down the street. And people might say, well, you're a nobody. Trust me, when I walk through Stockport, it's hard sometimes. Or when I'm trying to have a quiet pint, or I'm trying to have a quiet sandwich somewhere, my food always goes cold. Loads of my stuff. I don't want to be on TV. But I have to promote what I've done. Otherwise, I've done everything and sacrificed everything for nothing.
Yeah.
So when I see people like Marble Master, and I see people like you guys, and I see people like Tom McCready, and I see all the lads that you guys know,
Yeah.
and I see them doing a poetic job, then it's only right that I come on and put the real situation of what's happened.
Yeah.
Now, in many senses, there's a lot of people would have been like, oh, it's trying to do this for this, blah, 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 blah. I wasn't trying to do anything for anything. I have to explain to the people that follow me, the people that take their time to not just skip past it and do that, or that, or that, or that, and actually go, there's a light there for you, Andy. Or there's a 2-minute comment. And it can be clapping hands, it can be a fire symbol, it can be anything.
Yeah.
But to not explain to them why I had to disappear and why I wasn't on Instagram. And it came across as heartfelt because it was fucking heartfelt.
Because it was, yeah.
I've looked at it myself and gone, shit, dude, how have you come back from that? Like, seriously, I didn't even know myself, because there's that inner superhuman strength that we have, isn't it? You know, I am largely, a lot of people won't see this. For 99.9% of the week, I'm on my own. Every week. You know, I might be, if I'm going doing lecturing, I'm in a lecturing environment.
Yeah.
But as soon as I leave that at 4:30, 5 o'clock, I'm on my own till the next day.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm painting, I'm on my own. When I'm creating my artwork, I'm on my own. When I conceptualise all my art, I'm on my own. I do everything on my own. And I want to be on my own. That's the most important thing. I actually love my own company, not as in a self-egotistical way.
Yeah.
I love
It's
the
a
peace
nice
and
thing,
quiet
yeah.
of my
Yeah.
own.
Yeah, yeah.
So to be able to come back from that, or be able to put that out there, I think was an amazing thing to be able to share with people. And to share people that the only way I can say that everyone's got this in them. Everyone's got it in them. You've got to go to a place that's
Survival tactics, yeah.
You've got to go to a place in your mind that is. Well, I cry, me. You know, I'm not a man that doesn't cry. I sat there and I cried my eyes out. You know, uncontrollably. You know, to the point where it's like, you're like, well, get a grip of yourself, dude. You know what I mean? Quick, get a grip. Come on. Because I'm a child from the 80s and I'm a product of someone that's had the lead slapped and been smacked on the back of the head by the guy that taught me as apprentice, been shouted at by an uncle for not running down a track, 0.5mm track with a wheelbarrow fast enough full of tarmac, because I've fucking dropped stuff off scaffolding that's cost thousands of pounds and been berated for it for 10 weeks off men that I've worked with that have been giants but have been lovely, and they're actually just taking the piss because it's camaraderie on a side. That's what makes men like me be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'm not alone. Because I'm not the only artist that's living the way that I've had to live to get to where I am today. And let's face it, we said earlier, I've got 1,000 followers on Instagram. This is what the people of Instagram will never understand. And it's got to be said, this.
Yeah.
50,000 followers doesn't equate to me selling 50,000 paintings. 10 followers can equate to me selling 100 paintings.
Yeah.
It's the people that follow me are the people that are actually either purchased art off me, want to purchase art off me, or believe in me as a human being because they've had a dying dream inside them. And that's the reason why everyone looks at everyone on social media.
Yeah.
And I do it as well. I look through you guys, I look through Paul, I look through Tom, I even look through Ella, his daughter, and how she's been given like a moment in life where she's going to be incredible because of what she's the grounding that she's had in life.
Yeah, she will.
So you look at everyone, don't you, and you look up to all of them. That's the reason why I put myself on social media. Not to get likes, not to get shares, because everything that I do is overlooked. I wear a flat cap. I'm a straight-talking northerner. I'm not gay. I'm not bisexual. I am white. You know what I mean? And I don't have any kids. So I am literally overlooked in every art sense, in every sense of I am an invisible man. I'm getting to that age now where 5 more years' time, I will be invisible to society unless I'm an artist, unless I'm a designer, unless I'm doing something that's not of the norm.
Yeah.
And the reason why I know that is because I work in education with lads that are about to retire. And I ask them, what does it feel like to be 70-year-old and still working? And they turn around and go, Andy, the only reason why I'm working is to keep me active so that I don't die, because everyone retires, they do nothing and they die. And also, so they don't need the money. Teachers' pensions are freaking amazing, you know what I mean? Especially if you've done it for years.
Yeah.
And so what else are you doing it for? And they do it, and this is what, I'll never forget it, Rob said it to me 6 months ago. He went, you're really lucky, you, Andy, because it's in my heart. You know, a lot of people that I work for, I mean, you're really lucky, you'll never be invisible in society. And I went, what do you mean, mate? I feel invisible every day. And he's like, no, you'll never be invisible because you're doing something that's quite unique. So you'll always have that one message a week off someone out of the blue, and it'll make you weak. Rob turned around to me and said that when you get to 70 and you're a single dude and you don't have a family, you don't have grandkids, you don't have this, you don't have that, you are invisible to society. Women don't look at you anymore. You don't go out on dates anymore. And if you do, you're dating women that you don't want to date because they're older than the women that you want to date, but you're 70, so you're going to have to deal with the fact that, you see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, 100%.
So that makes me get up in the morning and think, thank fuck.
Yeah.
Thank fuck I've got my art. And I've got this mind that is, my mind's nuts. But at least I'm making good things with it. At least I'm not trying to make a nuclear weapon with it.
And on that art, on the rebirth of the art and the rebirth of Andy since the flooding, where can people find that art now? Where, if somebody was looking for a bit of art off you, where could they find it?
So I'm in the middle of having a website developed. That will be at www.onegrad.co.uk. So one grad means one love.
Yeah.
It's Gaelic for one love.
Yeah.
Partly because of my ancestral history of where my family comes from, Irish and Scottish. My second name's Fraser, so it's very Scottish. Andrew Fraser's a Scottish name. And they can find it on Instagram at One Grad Designs.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Class.
What's the hardest question of them all, Keo?
Spotify playlist. What would your song choice be?
Free Bird, Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Nice.
It's got
Lovely. Solid.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an
Perfect.
8-minute track. If you don't like one part of that 8 minutes, there's something wrong with you,
Yeah.
on every angle. Like,
I just want to really thank you for the
Yeah.
piece that you gave us as well.
that's not great, man. You know the kind of a man that I am, and you guys, like, massively thank you to you, and I'll thank you from everyone, because as we spoke a little bit earlier, if anything ever happens to one of us, it's been logged. You've given people a voice. You let people come in and, like I say, you strip it right back. What you guys do is, you don't need to do it. I know you don't need to do that. You do this from the love of your heart. And as you've explained as well, you do it because it's something to look back in 70 years' time and go, wow, we did that and everything else. But thank you for giving someone like me a voice, because I'm very much overlooked. You know, I'm not gay. I'm not black. I'm straight. I don't have any children. I don't have a wife. I'm not from any niche community. Very much overlooked in life, really, because of the age that I am, I think. And obviously I'm a flat cap, straight talking northerner. And there's not many places where someone like me can come and have a voice and be heard and, you know, be listened to and document what I've been through. So from my heart, genuinely, thank you to you both. It's been absolutely amazing experience. And thank you for...
It's been a pleasure.
For we communicate online, you know, and it's until you meet people, you don't really know who you're speaking to, you know, but the Marble Master's outside. He's brought me here tonight. You know what I mean? You guys are at the top of what you do. I've seen the showroom upstairs. I've seen what you're about. I've seen the cut of your jib, is an old expression.
Yeah.
And it's magnificent. So, you know, from me, and, you know, I can't speak for everyone else, but I will. Thanks from all of us. Because without people like you and you doing what you do, no one would have an insight into anything in life. And we are the forgotten people, I think. You know, the creatives, the people that no one really takes an interest in because they don't know the inside story of anything. you know, and they don't understand that. So without people like you doing what you do, people like me literally just go overlooked and left to one side. And from my heart, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
We've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Cheers, Andy.
Thanks, Andy.
Here's one for the blooper. Taxi driver, fuck off.
Right, Keith, another episode in the bag. What an episode.
Yeah, really enjoyed that one. Jay Kavanagh, what a story, what a man. I don't know where he gets his joy from, but fair dues to him, and look, best of luck for wherever the year holds from him and his family. And then who do we have on after that, Steve?
Yeah, great talking to Andy there. Like we said before he came on, making the effort to come all the way over and talk to us. It's never lost on us. We really appreciate it. It's for anybody to make any type of trip to come here to the Robus headquarters and step into the studio and talk to us, let alone get on a plane and fly over to us. It's amazing to think that the podcast can have that reach now.
Yeah, no, it's humbling, and look, for people wanting to share their stories with us, it's a real privilege, and thanks again to Andy for making the long journey over to us, and thanks for Paul for obviously being that conduit between the two of us, or the three of us. We'd like to run that back whenever he's over again, because it was a brilliant conversation.
Yeah, and a big thanks to our sponsors, Robus Lighting, the world's leading LED lighting company, for their continued support. And a big shout out to our partners for season 6.
Yeah, Snickers Workwear Ireland. Yeah, fair play to you. Thanks, Lindsay.
Yeah, and I guess if you enjoyed this episode and you liked what you heard, make sure you head over to wherever you get your podcast, give us a follow, and you'll be notified when the next one drops. Take it easy.
Talk to you next week.